Tonight on the Black Channel, the Democrats have decided after years of obscurity they want to cross over into our world. They now think that podcasting is going to save them. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, yes, folks, we are going to slow roll this one. We're going to slow bake this one because it's been a long time coming. And of course, I gave everyone the insights and the warning before time. I've been saying it now. I said it during the election. I'm saying it now that they were going to attempt to cross over into our world, that the old broadcast media is officially dead. I said this a decade ago. It took the election of Donald Trump for the Democrats to finally throw in the towel and just admit that. But there's more going on here than meets the eye. More going on than meets the eye. And what we're going to do is we're going to start here, first of all, not with Gavin Newsome, but no. None other than, well, I'll be damned, Michelle Obama. What? Yes, sir. In case you didn't know, Michelle Obama would like to tickle your ears with her new program that she has, hosting it with the renowned podcasting host, her brother. Damn! Yes, sir. Her and her brother started a YouTube program. They started one there, and just in case you weren't aware or didn't care, yes, they have that available there. And as you can see on your screens, well, this isn't going a hell of a whole lot better than it did over there on Spotify. Not doing a whole lot better than it did over there on Spotify. Remember, we already did this when the Obamas were running their little scam over there. This is how these folks launder money to former presidential candidates or former presidents. And you can take a look at the numbers for yourselves. You can take a look at the numbers for yourselves. You take a look at those numbers. 34,000 views for their trailer. All right. And the program itself, 218,000 views. All right, not bad. Not bad. For 53 minutes. For an hour and 8 minutes, 98,000 views. And this is with a special guest, Issa Rae. And after that, 29,000 views. Damn! Okay. And then a day ago, 9,500 views. So, yeah, Michelle's attempted to venture off into this world here, and it's off to a bit of a rocky start. Can't lie to you there. Experiencing some growing pains, which is to be expected. It's experiencing some growing pains, which is expected. So, we'll see how it goes, but at this point, it's off to a bit of a rocky start, it appears. Definitely off to a rocky start. Well, that's not the one we're aiming for here, and we're going to come back to Michelle here in just a few moments, but that's not the one we're aiming for because, you see, she was small potatoes, believe it or not. Former First Lady, small potatoes. No, the big gun here is Gavin the Degenerate Newsome. That's the big gun here. So Gavin Newsome has started his own YouTube channel. And that right there got a whole bunch of people's attention. Got a whole bunch of people's attention when they saw that. Because that means something. We all know who Gavin Newsome is, and we all know what he intends to do. And when you see him making a move like this, it is so nakedly obvious what he's trying to do. The case in point here, you can see Gavin Newsome, his YouTube channel, This is Gavin Newsome. And his first guest that he had on was none other than white supremacist activist extraordinaire Charlie Kirk. After that, he has on Steve Bannon. And after that, he has on Michael Savage. So Gavin Newsome is making a full court press in a desperate attempt to save any sort of political future for himself, but doing exactly what I said 3 years ago that the Democrats were doing, tacking to the right. So all of a sudden, they're taking off their liberal jackets. And I've always said, if you are black, talking about liberal and conservative and Democrat Republican, you are a dumbass of major proportions. There are twin wings on the bird of white supremacy. There is no reason to make a distinction because there is no distinction. And so Gavin Newsome, his response, and please understand where this comes from. This does not come from the election. His response to us. His response to us and the fact that he has witnessed a cratering of his support among black people. This is his attempt to galvanize his political future because of that. You see, they've done their internal polling. They've done their external polling. He don't need no help to figure out it was all downhill after the reparations fiasco. It was all downhill after that. So now he is desperately attempting to convince the rest of the nation that he is not a right wing, that he's not a left-wing perverted lunatic. And don't be under any illusions. That's what he's trying to do. Now, I'm going to tell you what the triangulation strategy here is. Gavin Newsome has already been 10 toes down for every degenerate practice that California is famous and infamous for. He's already been 10 toes down for that. So what ends up happening here is that he knows that California knows what he's about. So he doesn't have to prove anything to California. In 2028, if he runs against J.D. Vance, who is California going to vote for? Who's California going to vote for if he goes up against J.D. Vance? They're going to vote for J.D. Vance? Come on, if it comes down to a vote, who are they going to go for? So he has made the cynical calculus that California is going to back him no matter what. And so now he needs to appeal to the rest of the nation. He needs to appeal to them so that he seems a little less extreme, a little less extremist. So that's what this is all about now. And he makes a full court press to talk to nothing but hardcore right-wingers. This is a naked, blatant attempt at image rehab. This is a naked, shameless attempt at rehabilitating his image. But furthermore, it's a naked, shameless attempt at circumventing the black vote and shoring up support somewhere else, which is what I predicted after the reparations vote in California. When he scuttled that, I said, he's done. You will not be able to walk this backward. Obviously, he's proving I'm correct, and now he's trying to see if he can shore up support somewhere else. Yeah, he's going to catch some flack from folks on the left, but the bottom line is they're in such disarray right now, he feels there's a scramble for the ball. Now, I could play for you many things here, but this interview he did with Charlie Kirk, that really set this thing off, and it really said so much. What I want to do is I want to show you what they said. Now, that interview he did with Charlie Kirk was like an hour and 11 minutes long. An hour and 11 minutes long, and I want to show you part of it here. By the way, Gavin, fair use, fair use. And I want you all to listen not to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's going to say some things. I want you to listen to how Gavin Newsome responds to Charlie Kirk and what he says here. And I have listened to this so that you don't have to. But I don't care what you've heard on other programs or if you heard something else on another program here. You're going to get the real here. And there's the parts I want you to listen to and take notice of.
So I guess my question is to you: what are the Democrats going to do about it?
So I'm going to answer that in a second, but let me pull a few more threads. You said 2020 is when you started to see the Democrats sort of advance this notion of wokeism.
It's when the awakening
really started. What was it?
You know what I'm talking about?
No, but so is it? Yes, the Latinx stuff. That, by the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree.
But where did that even?
No more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
So first order of business and this Latinx stuff. Don't worry, 2020 is about George Floyd. We're going to get to that. But by the way, first thing he wants to do is this Latinx stuff. So, I mean, he goes above and beyond to let it, hey, I'm not with those hardcore left-wingers, even though he is the hardcore left-winger, and he's from the Jeffrey Epstein wing. But, yeah, he wants you to know about that Latinx, where that even gets started. I don't even know anything about that. Where to get started? Well, if you're a proponent for something and then saying you don't know where it got started, okay, that seems a little disingenuous, but all right.
Is it the pronouns? By the way, once you
to bed.
Yeah,
we agree.
But where did that even?
No more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about? Was it the pronouns? By the way, once you'd think California invented the frame of the pronoun. Now, I mean, literally, I had one meeting where people started going around the table of pronouns. One. There's been a hell of a lot of days between 2020 and today, and one meeting. So it's not like this is. I'm like, what the hell why is this the biggest issue?
Well, in corporate America, it's everywhere.
Okay,
just so you know.
all right. But
and college campuses.
It must college. See, that's where you reside a lot in the college campus.
So you got to defund these schools if they're doing the pronouns. You got to
Jesus. Okay. And so number three. What else? I mean, you started. What was also the big wokeism thing? I mean,
first of all, it wasn't just the projection of certain narratives, which we could obviously go through.
Yeah.
But it's when policy started to come forward.
And what kind of policy?
Hiring practices. When we're not going to hire.
There was DEI decades ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just called outreach and inclusion.
But we saw mass adoption. What we saw, and not only that, we saw pledging of billions of dollars of donations to racial justice from the biggest types of corporations imaginable.
Fair point. And that was sort of post George Floyd.
That's what I'm saying. That's when this. So you had a combined.
Oh, so Charlie Kirk finally admits the quiet part out loud. We saw there was a bunch of money rolling around. Because you see, you can have the biggest agenda in the world, but if there's not funding behind it, not really a big thing to worry about there. What he's saying is that we started seeing that they started galvanizing funding behind Black Lives Matter, which means all black folk, and racial justice, which means no white supremacy. So finally we took to the streets, and finally there was money being put into an anti-white supremacist agenda. So he's letting you all know that that's what the problem was. Yeah, everything was cool. We could tolerate the rest of that, but we started seeing money being put into anti-white supremacist agenda, anti-white supremacist movement in the corporate boardrooms. There was money being put into it now. Whoa, wait a minute. You done gone beyond talking. We're funding things. We're paying for things. These dollars could end up in the wrong people's hands. So he's admitting that that's what bothered them. That's why they've attacked George Floyd. That's why that's such a critical moment for them. Because you all were moving money around. Folks were giving money. Significant amounts of money started moving. So that's what it was. Even though we all know, as far as we're concerned, the amounts of money certainly that made it to folks who were actually on the business was not very considerable. It wasn't very considerable, but for them, it was. YouTube's giving me a warning up here about, hey, you're using somebody else's stream, so let me go ahead and throw a still image up here. But So he said the quiet part out loud, that there was too much money moving around for the first time. He said it really started to blow up and go to another level. What was the issue? Oh, this folks started throwing money into this. But he goes even further, by the way, because it's not just about money. Charlie Kirk goes even further now.
When it was, we're not going to hire.
There was DEI decades ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just called outreach and inclusion.
But we saw mass adoption, what we saw. And not only that, we saw pledging of billions of dollars of donations to racial justice from.
By the way, one interesting there, he said, but there was mass adoption now. So he said there was already DEI. Yeah, but now there was mass adoption. So in other words, it wasn't just a slogan. When he says mass adoption, that really probably means about 5 or 10%. That's mass adoption to the white supremacist psyche, is anything that you don't have to whisper. So he was like, hey, people were really on board. You didn't have to whisper it anymore. No one was ashamed of it. Oh, that's mass adoption. So his issue is, well, yeah, being anti-white supremacy, there was mass adoption and people were putting money behind it. Well,
the biggest types of corporations imaginable through.
Yeah.
But it's when policy started to come forward.
And what kind of policy?
Hiring practices. When it was, we're
But
not going to hire.
There was DEI decades ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just called outreach and inclusion.
But we saw mass adoption, what we saw. And not only that, we saw pledging of billions of dollars of donations to racial justice from the biggest types of corporations imaginable.
Fair point. And that was sort of post George Floyd.
That's what I'm saying. That's when this. So you had a combustible.
And was
effect.
that wrong? I mean, to address the issue of racial. I mean, there's legitimate issues as it relates to past practices.
What was insulting? What was insulting to a lot of people is.
Now, this is the reason why you cannot have individuals. We have to be able to talk for ourselves. I want you to take a look on the screen here and see how Gavin Newsom's body language when he says, can't we talk about racial justice and putting people in chokeholds? Take a look at Gavin Newsom's body language. Take a look at the way he's talking, the whole 9 yards.
Fair point. And that was sort of post George Floyd.
That's what I'm saying. That's when this. So you had a combustible.
And was
effect.
that wrong? I mean, to address the issue of racial. I mean, there's legitimate issues as it relates to past practices.
What was insulting? What was insulting to a lot of people.
You see the way he's sitting there like that. Yeah. There you go. This is why we have to do the talking, because when you allow other folk to talk for us, this is the mealy mouth way it comes out. Now, if you were talking about LGBT, it'd be different. When you allow these other folk to talk for us, that's the way it comes out.
Fair point. And that was sort of post George Floyd.
Okay, y'all. Which dance is that he doing? Is that the Cabbage Patch? I have no idea. Not sure which dance that's supposed to be, but I wanted you all to see exactly what it looked like there.
That's what I'm saying. That's when this. So you had a combustible.
And was
effect.
that wrong? I mean, to address the issue of racial. I mean, there's legitimate issues as it relates to past practices.
What was insulting? What was insulting to a lot of people is, number one, where's the money going? Because the top premier BLM charity ended up being a racket.
Yeah,
right. With Patrisse Cullors, like where'd that $100 million go? So all of a sudden we learned that, and all these pledges of corporate dollars were going to this woman that's like hiring her like brother for personal security,
right.
And that like a lot of and you would even agree like that.
No, that became like the poster child.
But number two,
for the broader movement.
But number two, which I think was most important, was that it elevated then this scholarly community that was otherwise fringe, like Robin DiAngelo and other people, and her book White Fragility. Literally, the entire premise of her book is that white people need to stop being so fragile about race. You need to sit down and shut up and hear how racist you are.
So he then says the problem is there was this new academic class. So white supremacy was being called out. People were talking about racial justice, which means anti-white supremacy. Money was being put into it. Some new scholars were being christened, not the old guard that they've been holding on to. And we're talking about white fragility, which really takes its roots all the way back to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. So it's like, oh yeah, that right there, that white fragility that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing spoke about. Now that's been resurrected. And I'll be damned, folk are listening. So he's letting you know the specific things they have an issue with here. Now, he doesn't say where she's wrong. He doesn't say where it's an error. Now, there's the real thing about it, folks. He doesn't say that she's wrong, and he doesn't point out what is in error. Now, if you're going to take issue with something, it should be because it is incorrect. Not because, well, I don't like the sound of it being true. But that's not what he's doing. So everything he's saying here is about, hey, we're here to reestablish white supremacy. White fragility. Yes, the idea that if you don't dominate everything, something's wrong. That's white fragility. Right there. Okay, now Charlie Kirk says this, and by the way, let me go ahead and put it back up on your screen so that you all can see the video of this as it plays. I want you to take a look, not at Charlie Kirk, take a look at how Gavin Newsome responds to what Charlie Kirk says.
Literally, the entire premise of her book is that white people need to stop. Was otherwise it elevated then this scholarly community that was otherwise fringe, like Robin DiAngelo and other people. And her book, White Fragility, literally the entire premise of her book is that white people need to stop being so fragile about race. You need to sit down and shut up and hear how racist you are. And she was brought on tours to corporations across the country. And by the way, just so you understand, this was a phenomenon over months and months, and it didn't quite catch up in time for the 2020 election. I do believe that if you guys would have been a little less insane on crime in the summer of 20, you would have completely clobbered us in November of 20. It was like it was the riots that even made 2020 close.
Right.
But then it was the extension.
Now, let me go back and play that one more time for you.
It was otherwise fringe, like Robin DiAngelo and other people. And her book, White Fragility, literally the entire premise of her book is that white people need to stop being so fragile about race. You need to sit down and shut up and hear how racist you are. And she was brought on tours to corporations.
You see, there you go, Gavin. Oh, no. Ain't gonna let you off the hook. Charlie Kirk says that mess. That what was wrong with that? Tell me, where was the error? If you're going to claim there's a problem with it, then just simply explain what the error is in it. Where's the error in the logic? And take a look at old Uncle Gavin there. Take a look at him.
Fragile about race. You need to sit down and shut up and hear how racist you are. And she was brought on tour.
So Gavin Newsome is trying to downplay. He's trying to downplay our importance and trying to minimize that because he realizes he doesn't have that support anymore. So now he is attempting to see if he can undermine it or at least find another lane around it because he realizes he doesn't have it. So I want you all to see this because that's not Charlie Kirk wincing at a factual statement about a system of white supremacy. Charlie Kirk is the very definition of white fragility. He's the very definition. You are white and privileged because simply based on your whiteness. And so you're going around undermining everybody else to make sure that you maintain your privileged, preferential, unearned privileges. You are the very definition of white fragility. This is something that a 6-year-old could have knocked out of the park to refute. And Gavin is sitting there nodding his head and going along with it because he thinks that he's going to make converts among the white supremacist Republicans and right-wingers. Just thought I would take a moment there to point that out. That's not Charlie Kirk responding that way. That's Gavin Newsome responding that way.
To corporations across the country. And by the way, just so you understand, this was a phenomenon over months and months, and it didn't quite catch up in time for the 2020 election. I do believe that if you guys would have been a little less insane on crime in the summer of 20, you would have completely clobbered us in November of 20. It was like it was the riots that even made 2020 close.
Right.
Once again, poor little white supremacist Charlie Kirk. These are the same guys who sat up here and said that folks who attacked police officers on Capitol Hill and smash their way into the House of Representatives. He's not been advocating to be tough on crime for the January 6th white supremacist rioters. He is not demanding to be tough on crime with them. Isn't that very interesting? I mean, if he's all about being tough on crime, excuse me? If ever there was a time to be tough on crime, it should have been January 6th. And yet Charlie Kirk is not an advocate for being anti-crime there, unless, of course, you're saying what they were doing was not a crime. Furthermore, there were plenty of people arrested after George Floyd was murdered in the uprisings. There were plenty of people arrested. So what exactly is that you're saying? The problem that you have is that there were just so many people who took to the streets in so many different places. Nothing like that happened for Trump. Nothing like that happened for Biden. Nothing like that happened for anybody. We galvanized hundreds of thousands of people take to the streets across the nation. And that was the problem for something like that to occur in the modern era. No Dr. King needed, no Malcolm X needed, no leadership needed. The code is the leader. The agenda is the leader. The mission is the leader. The ideology is the leader. So this is a frightening issue here. They're like, wait a minute, everybody's on the same damn page, and we don't have a single individual to go after or to go at. There's not one person we can assassinate and mission accomplished. We don't have it. That was what went wrong in 2020. That's what went wrong after George Floyd. That was where things went wrong. They wanted to go the old playbook. They would go arrest somebody or go kill somebody. And there wasn't anyone to arrest or kill to diffuse the movement this time, which lets you know that everyone is on the same page. The problem is so endemic. It is so widespread. It is so pervasive that just like white supremacy responds and moves as a hive mind, Black empowerment and anti-white supremacist movement galvanized as a whole entity on its own. You had a unified response. Something that white supremacists are used to, that they train their folk for, and then they just hit the streets. Now you saw this happen on our side, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, this is a problem. This is a problem. So now he's explaining to you what it is he has an issue with. It's like, we'll be damned. Y'all aren't supposed to be able to do that. And sure enough, we did.
I do believe that if you guys would have been a little less insane on crime in the summer of 20, you would have completely clobbered us in November of 20. It was like it was the riots that even made 2020 close.
Right.
But then it was the extension of all of the what we would call woke stuff.
Right. Defund police.
Yeah, I mean, Minneapolis literally had to hold a special vote saying, like, should we still have a police department?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and YouTube keeps throwing this thing up here talking about you're using somebody's stream. Let me go ahead and throw this up one more time before they flag my video off of here. I want you to take a look at this part with Charlie Kirk and look at Gavin Newsome. Listen to what he's about to say, people. This is not Charlie Kirk talking. This is the sitting so-called Democrat, liberal, extreme liberal governor of California, and take a look at how he responds about defund the police.
All of the what we would call woke stuff.
Right. Defund police.
Yeah, I mean, Minneapolis literally had to hold a special vote saying, like, should we still have a police department?
Yeah, that was lunacy.
I mean, but Governor,
lunacy.
I don't want to.
And by the way, you're talking to someone who's never supported the defund
no,
police.
I'm not saying, I know, but
oh man. Gavin Newsome, Andrew Cuomo. Oh boy, all of a sudden, ain't that, take a look at the first thing they're going at. Take a look at the first thing they're going at. Do you see how that's going? Do you see how that's going? Oh man. This is why I wanted to play this for you all. I did this last week. And first, Andrew Cuomo. Here comes Gavin Newsome. All these old white men with their used to be black hair. Now it's going gray. And take a look at what they're attacking and what they're prioritizing. Take a look at where they're certain about. Interesting. I don't think it's a coincidence, people. I really don't. Both of them trying to hold on to their political fortunes, and take a look at what they see as their primary target to undermine and destabilize.
riots that even made 2020 close.
Right.
But then it was the extension of all of the what we would call woke stuff.
Right.
And
Defund police.
yeah, I mean, Minneapolis literally had to hold a special vote saying, like, should we still have a police department?
Yeah, that was lunacy.
I mean, but Governor,
lunacy.
I don't want to.
And by the way, you're talking to someone who's never supported the defund
No,
police
I'm not saying, I
movement.
know, but
I was explicit.
But
also,
hold on one second. You did support Prop 16 in 2020, which would have legalized racial prejudice, right? Prop 16 literally would, and it
I have to go back to my Prop 13.
You know, you're smart.
So remember, Charlie Kirk, like all white supremacists, Charlie Kirk is a degenerate liar. He's not a pathological liar. He's a degenerate one. So that's the first thing you have to be aware of. He is a degenerate liar. Of course, they have to be, because they talk about things that don't exist. They're calling out some sort of white oppression when literally across the society you cannot see where white people are not privileged. You don't see any advantages on our side. You don't see where our economy and our social standing, we don't have the ability to oppress anybody. So they sit up here and create these lies because white supremacy is not about truth. White supremacy is about power. Well, here's our justification. You know that's not happening right there. Shut the hell up. Just get over here and back this damn thing. And that's what it's about.
No.
Prop 16.
I taught 960 SAT, so a little humility.
Hold on. No, you're the
here.
governor of the largest state in the country. No. I saw your debate against DeSantis. You're good at this stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Prop 16 would have had legalized racial prejudice, which would, and it got defeated by 16 points despite all the institutions. Yeah. So you're asking me, what did wokeism look like when California, when all the institutions, yourself included, with all due respect, embraced this insane ballot measure? Guess what? Even the people of California didn't want racial discrimination.
Remember, California since 1996 has had Prop 209. So the affirmative action case that came from the Supreme Court as relates to institutions of higher learning had no impact on California. So it's an interesting, California also codified as a constitutional amendment, marriage between a man and a woman. And that was in the 2000s. So California runs an interesting
I
sort
found
of
it to be illuminating,
trends.
though, that despite, there was really like no opposition. It was like a couple hundred Asian activists.
Honestly, I have to go back to.
But I just want to say, you asked the question, what did wokeism look like? Yeah. Prop 16 in California that would have had legalized racial discrimination.
That was not a major, there was a broader national narrative.
Legalize, when you hear a white supremacist say legalize racial discrimination, he doesn't say anything about what happens to black people all the time. Their racial discrimination doesn't bother them when they're practicing white supremacy every day. If there is so much as even one thing that they don't have complete control of and do not have engineered, rigged access and control of, then all of a sudden there's a problem. Charlie Kirk is not ignorant of white supremacy. He is an advocate and an activist for it. And when you point out white supremacy, he tells you it either doesn't exist or, well, that's just one place. Well, Charlie, then Prop 16 is just one place. That's not proof of anything. That's not proof of any widespread anything. That's just one place. Okay. But for white supremacy, it's never just one place. If it happens anywhere, that's a problem everywhere. Ooh, it's widespread. Okay, well, we show you widespread examples of white supremacy all of the time. Charlie Kirk has never been an advocate against that. Now, if he were really concerned about discrimination, he would be over here with us. And he would be first in line to talk about it. It's not like we don't have a never-ending stream of it. Not like we don't have a never-ending stream of it. The whole reason why we're talking about what they've done for Asians. There's a never-ending stream of it. Shout out Ed Blum. You have a never-ending stream of these things. Where's Charlie Kirk to talk about that? Nowhere to be found.
Just bringing it home to you because there were hundreds of such ballot referendums, right? Yeah. Okay. There was, city council meetings where they said the white people aren't allowed here, right? And
that's not good.
No, it's not good. Yeah. And so what ends up happening is a broader question of sensible, not racist suburban moms that are like, wait a second, I have a 8-year-old white son. Are you trying to say he's a racist? Yeah. And it creates a backlash that then bubbles up, right?
I appreciate the perspective. And now I appreciate not just the perspective. I totally appreciate what you just said as an explicit statement of fact. To make an 8-year-old feel like they're racist is absurd.
Yeah,
Okay, that's Gavin Newsome. Let me go ahead and put it back on the screen for you here so you all can see Gavin Newsome telling you that this mystical, mythical, magical thing that nobody can find, that why that's absurd to do that. Well, it is, because nobody's doing it.
And no, I appreciate not just the perspective. I totally appreciate what you just said as an explicit statement of fact. To make an 8-year-old feel like they're racist is absurd and outrageous.
But Governor, with all due respect, that's happening right now in California public schools.
Okay, Charlie Kirk has been a proponent of burning books, of whitewashing slavery. Of course, he is a staunch defender of white supremacy, obviously. The murder of unarmed black people by police, he is a huge proponent and supporter of it, prime cheerleader of it. He always has been. He never saw a dead black person that he didn't love. Not the black person he loved, them being dead. He never saw a black person murdered by white supremacists that he didn't think was wonderful. So you have to understand, in the sick, twisted psyche of the white supremacists, remember, the words don't mean for them what it means to sensible, normal people. White supremacists have weaponized it, so just remember, when they use those words, it doesn't actually mean that. That's not what he means. What he means is, we in charge. That's what he means. What he means is talking about slavery being a European construct, talking about the white supremacist laws of America. That's what he's talking about. We shouldn't teach children those things. Now he wants to teach you about, oh, you're a descendant of George Washington. He doesn't want to teach you what George Washington did. We want to talk about the Constitution. We don't want to talk about the fact the Constitution was written as a white supremacist document. We don't want to talk about that. He wants to make sure that you don't have that in its proper context. So just like last week when I did my program about the Confederacy and Edmund Pettus Bridge, those are discussions that Charlie Kirk does not want to have. He certainly doesn't want to have it with white children, because you don't want to have the discussion of who Edmund Pettus was and Bragg was, and Braxton Bragg and George Washington and Alexander Stephens. He doesn't want to have that conversation with 8-year-old white children. So they make up this lie that's teaching them that they're racist. No, that's teaching them American history. That's teaching them American history. And as I said, if American history is determined to be problematic to white supremacy and white supremacist control, then they will say, to hell with American history. Damn American history. Stop teaching American history. If American history undermines white supremacist control, damn American history. I said this years ago. Now, what they're doing is they're snatching out all the basic propaganda. They're erasing American history and replacing it with a fictional story that says everything was always fine. And it isn't fine today. But there ain't no racism, ain't no slavery, never been no white supremacy. Everybody was fine. Because their goal, they are diabolical, demonic, bestial, animalistic individuals who want to warp your children's minds. This is not about white children. Charlie Kirk's children will be taught white supremacy no matter what. So it's not the schools they're concerned about. They're concerned that your black children will be taught what white supremacy is in the schools, and that your black children will be aware of it at an early age. Not that white children will be aware of it, but that your black children will be aware of it. You see, coons are not born, they're built. And what they've determined is we need more Byron Donalds and their ilk. We need more Tim Scott, so don't teach anything about this stuff. And then they are assuming that the black parents won't teach anything about it. And so that therefore within 1 to 2 generations, you will have essentially ended the practice of teaching slavery. Please understand that that's the goal. The goal is that over the course of 1 to 2 generations, they will have erased slavery and thus have erased any memory of white supremacy. And so when your children have white supremacy practiced against them, they will believe it's their own fault, because that's what Charlie Kirk and their paid black coons will tell them. Well, that's your fault. While Charlie Kirk is literally sitting up here advocating for policies to enact and execute white supremacy, while he's sitting there actively doing it, telling you that, by the way, when we finish tearing all these pages out of this history book over here, this is all your fault. Never forget that is Gavin Newsome sitting right next to Charlie Kirk saying this. He's sitting right there next to Charlie Kirk co-signing. Instead of doing what I just said, is to tell us exactly how are 8-year-old white children being taught that they're racist. Tell me exactly how they're being taught that. It'll be the same thing that Ron DeSantis said. Well, you're teaching them that slavery was because of white people. Well, white people were the slavers in America. Yes, sir. Here's the sentence you have to say, people. Here's the sentence you have to say. Here is the sentence you have to say. Show us the white people who could be bought and sold, and their children bought and sold as property. The only people who were eligible to be bought and sold as property were black people, and only white people were exempt from it. So, Charlie, white supremacist dunce, if you can show us the white people that we could buy and sell and their children buy and sell as property, then you'd have a point, but you can't show us that. So, oh yeah, and it was only white people who made the laws. There were no laws that were made by us, and there were no laws that were made that subjected white people to it. So yeah, this was a white practice. You see, you were proud to chant that this was for white people back then. And what we're saying is 250 years later, you're going to have to stand on that. You're going to have to stand on that. If you were proud to say that this is a white country founded for white people and the black folk are only one 3/5 of a person, through 250 years later, you will stand on that. You're not going to sweep it under the rug and say, oh, ain't nobody really doing that right here. No, you're going to have to stand on it now. And what they're telling you is that, we're white and we say so. So we don't want to talk about that anymore. Oh, well, we'll do the talking for you. But you are not going to be allowed to erase this or dismiss this or forget this. And even if you do, we won't. Now, why is it that Gavin Newsome didn't say that? Because Gavin Newsome is trying to appeal to the white supremacists, because that's the way it works in white supremacist society. People remember when you're talking about the Michael Bloombergs. One minute they're Democrat, the next minute they're Republican. These are jackets that they put on and off and take off like a jacket. I've been saying this now for going on 2 decades. They take these things on and take them off like a jacket. That's what it does. So Gavin Newsome is taking off his liberal jacket because that works over there. Let me go ahead and remind you one more time. If you're a white woman and you've been laying up under black men so long, you look like you got a tan. What? If you're a white woman and you've been laying up under black men so long, you're developing an afro. Damn. You can get rehabilitated. You can get rehabilitated. It's going to take a little bit of work, but you can get rehabilitated, but you're going to have to do some things. You're going to have to make some accusations. You're going to have to disavow them Negroes. You are going to have to take issue not so much with the black men you slept with, but black people as a group. Black people as a culture, black people as a group, you're going to have to go in on that. So that they make sure that you don't have the ability to cross back over there. You're going to have to go 10 toes down for white supremacy, and you're going to have to go at black people as a group. That's the only way you get to take that Negro jacket off. You don't get to take that Negro jacket off until you do that. And so Gavin Newsom is adhering to the time-honored white supremacist tradition. This is not new, people. Strom Thurmond, Robert Byrd, we can go down the list. When it's time for them to switch over here, LBJ. When it's time for them to switch around and whatnot, when it is to their convenience. When it's time for them to switch around, that's what they do. And so here is Gavin Newsom sitting up here saying, let me go ahead and get this jacket off here right quick. And guess what? I'm a conservative on some issues. I'm like, wow, he's spun on that so damn fast, your head will rock off your shoulders. I was never with that stuff over there. I was never for defund the police. I was never for, DEI. I was never for that. Okay. I was never for white fragility. Okay. And I'm like, Gavin, by the way, dude, don't expect any of us to sit up here and shed a tear. Oh, what the hell happened to Gavin? People, let me be very, very clear with the next words you're about to hear come out of my mouth. This is good. What? This is good. This is exactly what we want. I want everyone at this moment here to draw their lines in the sand and to declare their allegiances. I want everybody on the record. You will not be allowed to walk this backwards because I said this. I've been saying this since the election. I want to remind you all one more damn time, just in case you were stupid enough to listen to somebody else. Please understand, Donald Trump only won by a percentage point or two. That is it. He didn't win by 10, 20 points. That didn't happen. Yes, the electoral map shifted in a widespread manner, but let's be clear, a map that shifts that quickly can also shift back equally as quickly. And if the country goes into recession, Trump's done. Now, he can't run for re-election, but all this talk of the Democrats won't be a party or whatnot, give me a damn break, people. Stop making all these hysterics to do clickbait to get views for content. That's not the way it works. That'll never be the way it works. Trump and friends are riding on the razor's edge. They're riding on the razor's edge. That's it. And with that being the case, they don't have a leg to stand on if things shift slightly, and it's not hard to do that. So you got some folks out there who are panicked because their political fortunes have changed in other areas. When you don't have the black vote, oh, that's an issue. Things have changed in other areas. And so Gavin Newsom is trying to shore himself up by way of, well, don't worry, I'm conservative here now. I'm conservative on some issues. Now, it goes even deeper. It goes even deeper, so I want you to understand exactly why that's occurring there, because this goes even deeper. Why is it the Democrats are all of a sudden jumping up and wanting to do podcasts, wanting to do YouTube programs? Now, of course, you all have heard that the lesson that the Democrats took away from the 2024 presidential election is that the Republicans won because the internet media and Joe Rogan, and that this was a communication ecosystem that the Democrats just didn't have access to. Now that's they're trying to take away simplistic lessons, people. That's what consultants do. Consultants take a look at a complex issue and then attempt to distill it down to a few talking points so that the person that they're consulting for can understand it, as opposed to dealing with a very complex issue that has a lot of moving parts that needs to be dealt with piece by piece. You're going to have to take this neighborhood back block by block. So their consultants have given them a few talking points. Well, it was the commercial about trans people. Kamala Harris is for they, them. Trump went on Joe Rogan's program. Folks, did you realize how damn dense you have to be to think that you lost a presidential election because of one YouTube program. I don't give a damn how popular the YouTube program is. Well, but Jason, Joe Biden lost the 2024 election after he was on the debate stage with Trump. No, he didn't. He lost that election way before then. He just lost the confidence of the party after that appearance at the debate. He had lost the election to Trump way before then. That was the moment that the debate was just the moment that he lost the support of the party. But he had lost the support of the people way before then. So if you're an analyst who came away talking about, the debate done him in, excuse me, he was already behind a year in advance. We talked about that here on this very microphone. I have been talking about for over the previous year before the 2024 election how Biden was losing the black vote. And the white supremacist corporate media swore up and down that that wasn't the case. Now be damned. Within 6 months of the election, they had done a 180. They are liars and propagandists and con artists. They're paid to lie. And when they finally got to within 6 months of the election, Biden doesn't have the black vote. Kamala Harris doesn't have it. The Democrats are up the damn creek. Trump's going to go back in there crazy as hell and win. I'll be damned. Everything that we told you for the previous 2 years before the election, it all broke exactly the way we said. I'll be damned. There it was. No, he didn't lose the election at the debate. He had lost the election way before then, which is what I told all of you, and it transpired exactly the way we said. Joe Rogan's podcast is not what sank Kamala Harris. The previous 4 years of Kamala Harris being a no-show, not talking to us, not making sure that she's staked out her ground and was reliable to us, that was what did it. When police officers beat a young black man to death and she's standing there at the damn eulogy and talking about babbling on for several minutes, some inane nonsense about people and humanity and what we can't accept, and not saying a damn word about black folk. And I sat there and I played that thing for you all and said, she ain't saying nothing about black. Somebody told her you can't do that. And I said for years, Charlemagne don't get it. Kamala Harris could have revamped her image, but she would have had to do it the way I said she had to do it. When somebody challenges your black credentials, that is an assault that cannot stand. You don't let somebody roll up on you and challenge your black credentials. You don't do that. You get up, you get in their face. I don't give a damn if it comes to blows. You don't let somebody challenge your black credentials. That is who you are and strikes at the heart of who you are as a living being. They are not allowed to do such a thing. Somebody challenge your black credentials, you start taking your earrings off. Hold on just a moment, because I might have to bring an extra strength can of whoop ass up in here. You don't challenge my credentials. That's not going to be. No, it is not, because as a people, we've been through too much. We have done too much. We've endured too much for you to sit up here and disrespect that. You stand on your black credentials. Nobody gets to besmirch that. You stand on those. And we knew she was phony when she didn't do that. When her credentials were challenged, she backed down, which is what the quote biracial kids, the kids who consider themselves biracial, that's what they do. The ones who consider themselves black, they gonna be in your face and on your ass. The ones who are faking it and trying to ride the fence and they're black when convenient, when you challenge theirs, then they back down. And Kamala Harris backed down. And I said that in 2020. I said, you shouldn't be backing down from this, because you ain't gonna be, your sorority sisters cannot vouch for your blackness for you. Your blackness is something that you have to establish and you have to codify and you have to confirm. Your sorority isn't going to give you black credentials. You're going to have to come out here and show us your paperwork. And the paperwork was dirty as hell and she couldn't fix it and couldn't clean it up. And 4 years later, it was just weird and wacky and California awkward. And that was all it was. At a time when she needed to stand on some black credentials and could not do it. And the problem is, you can't clean up your black credentials 3 months before the election.
Auntie, chill.
You can't sit up here and wait till 90 days before the election and think you're going to clean up your credentials. You were supposed to be having that damn conversation the entire damn time. You were supposed to be beating on Jason Black's door, demanding to have an interview. That's what you were supposed to be doing. You were supposed to be coming over to the new black media, not Roland Martin and the buffet media. You were supposed to be coming on the new black media and establishing your credentials. You were supposed to be demanding to have that conversation with us. You were supposed to be sitting here in the chair across from me saying, now who is this fella sitting up here, calls himself Jason Black, challenging my credentials, challenging my heritage? Who are you? Let's go ahead and have a talk about that. Let's go ahead and put up our black credentials blow for blow, brother. Now, that's what you do if you're in that position and you about that life. That's what you do then. You do that. You say, anybody want to challenge my credentials, got a microphone here. Nigga, you know how to get a hold of me. I ain't hard to find. I'm in the damn White House over there on that left-hand side. You know how to find me. All you got to do is answer the damn email. Who is this challenging my credentials? That's what you do when you realize how serious that is. People, you all understand that is an affront. You don't do that. You don't do that. So when that occurred, let's be very, very clear. Her husband, as a Jewish person, he wouldn't let anybody challenge his Jewish credentials. He wouldn't do that. My folks in New York, you know that ain't never gonna fly. You cannot challenge a Jewish person's Jewish credentials if they about that life. Now, the ones who want to date out into Anglo society, don't worry, they ain't gonna stand for nothing. But the ones with the yarmulkes and the ones with the beards and the ones with the twist in the hair, you can't, no, you get ready to scrap. Get ready to throw them hands. Get ready to scrap. You are not going to challenge his Jewish credentials and just walk off in the sunset. It ain't gonna be. You might whoop his ass, but you're gonna have to whoop his ass first. You are not going to challenge them credentials and he just be like, well, he's going to be up in your face, up on your ass. He's hey, we ain't going to have it. Not going to be. And when Kamala was challenged, there was only one acceptable response. That's it. Just one. And the fact that she didn't do that, that's what showed us, oh, you ain't one of us. You can't be one of us because nobody calls out your credentials like that and you don't respond. Even Drake's light-skinned ass sat up here when Kendrick Lamar called him out. At least Drake tried to throw some hands.
Nigga, please.
At least Drake tried to throw a couple of little old flimsy lefts. At least he tried to. At least he went into the damn studio. He was smart enough to do that. He said, oh, wait a minute, I gotta say something. At least he understood that. I can't let that slide. I gotta do something. Wake up one of my damn producers. Start that damn Casio keyboard. Bang me out something. I gotta have a song by the morning. I got to have a song by 6 a.m. I got to have a song by morning and get to it. Got to get it. Kamala over there and whatnot, balled up into the damn fetal position. Well, DL Hughley will do that. DL ain't got no black credentials no more. Steve Harvey, ma'am, are you kidding me? Nigga, please. Y'all, Kamala Harris called Steve Harvey to help reinforce her black credentials. So in other words, absolutely nobody had a clue and nobody got the memo. She called damn me Steve Harvey to say, can you give me some black credentials? And what I'm saying is that when you really got them, you ain't got to call nobody else. You don't. You don't. And the reason why I'm bringing this up here is because understand the strategy the Democrats are trying to use right now. The Democrats are obviously using podcasts in order to float candidates to see their viability to run for office. That's what they're doing right now. They're using the internet right now, and they're using YouTube and whatnot. They're trying to float people. So I want you all to know, yes, I'm saying it. They are officially trying to float Michelle Obama to see if she's viable. They want to get you to like her first, and then they want to see if they can steer on over to see if maybe she can be a candidate for 2028. That's what they're doing. So you want my verdict on it? It is official. The Democrats are attempting a trial balloon to see if Michelle Obama is personable enough to be a candidate for 2028. And they're using the internet as a forum to introduce her to the people and audition her. So this is her audition to see if she's personable enough and likable enough to check that box. And then they'll start having her ease into talking about issues and about policies. So that's what this is about. Now, everyone nakedly saw Gavin Newsome. Everybody knows he thinks he's running for president, so that's the reason he's doing this podcasting thing. But by the way, with Michelle Obama, this is not about the Democrat Party. This is about Michelle. This is about Michelle. Why did Michelle Obama stay married to Barack as long as she did? Because who else gonna make you first lady of the United States? But there was always a Faustian bargain, the same way it was with Bill and Hillary Clinton. For those of you who are not old enough, those of us when Bill Clinton ran for office back in the 90s, it was very well-known knowledge. Everybody said it then that him and Hillary Clinton were still married because Bill was running for president, and that he was going to see to it that when he left office, she would get to run for president. That was always the plan. And that is why she had to be nominated and elected to the Senate, so that she would have some political credentials to be able to justify her being president. And then under Obama and whatnot was Secretary of State. So that was the whole deal. It was always rigged. It was always set up. It was always pre-planned. Always. So for those of you who are not old enough to remember, yeah, that was always the idea. Hillary Clinton always had presidential aspirations, always did. It would be necessary to get Bill in there first, and then he would pave the way and make it easier for her when she finally ran for president and would be the first female president of the United States. Barack and Michelle Obama, it's been a similar thing. She's been with Barack all this time, but the idea was that at some point when the dust settled and cleared, if there was a lane open, they would see to it that Michelle could run. And what they're trying to do is convince people that things are so bad and things are so awful. And don't you remember the halcyon good old days when Barack Obama was in office? And now you need to let Michelle run. And that's what it is. So they're gearing up to do that. They're auditioning her for that. And that's also why you see Gavin Newsome doing what he's doing there. This is a cynical ploy on their part. And take a look at how readily Newsome sits there and glums onto these right-wing policies, people. Take a look at how quickly that happened. He's doing this in the middle of the beginning of Donald Trump's second term. Take a look at how quickly he flipped over and did that. Newsome is trying to gain an antidote to us, to the reparations activists, to the black agenda. He's trying to shore up some antidote to us, which means he's also trying to shore up some antidote for Nancy Pelosi. They're trying to shore up some antidote for Nancy Pelosi. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get that together. That what they are letting you all know is that the body blows, I said it, the body blows got through, the punches got through, them left and right hooks got through. They are not assuming that they're going to have our support next year. I'm putting everybody on notice. They are making it clear that they do not assume that they're going to have our support next year. They don't assume it. Not at all. They are not assuming that they're going to have our support next year. They are actually now, if Gavin Newsome is any indicator, if Andrew Cuomo in New York is any indicator, even in their blue states, they're showing that they don't believe they're going to have our support next year. So they are attempting to position themselves now for how they win or how they operate or how they can win an election or get elected without firm support from us. That's what it's all about now. How do we do this now without firm support from the black base? And you take a look at what Gavin Newsome is doing now. He's talking to Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon, Michael Savage. I didn't even know Michael Savage was still alive. Damn! That was news to me. I didn't even know Savage was still alive. Well, he is alive, if not exactly kicking. And Gavin Newsome had his phone number. So away they went. But you know who Gavin Newsome is not called? Gavin Newsome is not called the new black media. Gavin Newsome has not called the new black media. They haven't called the area where they're weak at, and that's because we are coming with demands. Let's be very, very clear about something. Talking to Charlie Kirk doesn't really hurt Gavin Newsome. You know why? Because Gavin Newsome, Charlie Kirk isn't demanding anything of Gavin Newsome. Charlie Kirk is not part of Newsom's fan base. He's not part of Newsom's political base. He's part of Trump's political base. So Kirk already got what he wants. He doesn't actually expect anything from Gavin Newsome. Charlie Kirk has worked for 4 years to get Trump reelected. He's got the candidate he wants. He's got his guy. Newsome is not his guy. So he's going to sit there and debate with Newsome and go back and forth a bit, but he's not going to demand anything from Newsome. Newsome is using him to set up talking points and things he can agree with to make himself seem less leftist radical. But Kirk ain't going to demand nothing from him. He's not going to demand anything from him. If we show up, we're going to be talking about, hey, what about all this stuff you ain't did? We're going to be talking about what you're supposed to have done. And that's the part he doesn't want. He does not want to have a conversation where we go line by line through what the hell done happened. Hey, what about all these white supremacists on the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department? We can go down the list. Excuse me, sir, about Bruce's Beach? Where the hell is all that homeless money? Billions of dollars supposed to be for the homeless, and most of those are black folk in Los Angeles. I've been to Skid Row many a moon. Most of them are black folk down there. So how in the hell is it billions have been budgeted for it, and they still sitting out there on the damn street? You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? How the hell is it billions have been budgeted? This has become a national scandal now. Billions for the homeless, and yet they all still sitting out there on the street? Explain that. See, that's the conversation that Charlie the white supremacist Charlie Ku Klux Kirk is not going to have. Charlie Ku Klux Kirk is not going to ask anything about that. He's not going to go into that aspect of it. He's not going to let you know about the black folk out there and talk about that. Because he's like, okay, that's all, that's where everything needs to be. It's just exactly where it's supposed to be. But he's not going to talk about that part of it. Gavin Newsom wants to rehabilitate his image, but at the same time avoid these uncomfortable discussions because that's all he's really trying to do. What this also lets you know is that this came from California. Now, what I'm about to give you all next here, I got to go on I have to give a little bit of dissemination of information here about the political prognostication of exactly where this is coming from. This is coming from that California contingent. I said this when Biden got ripped out of the White House. I said it's a California coup. I said it then. Go back and listen to my programs after July 2024. I already said all of this, but let me go ahead and reiterate it for you here now as we speak. I said that Kamala Harris was going to run for president. That wasn't what the Democrats wanted. I said it then that damn, Joe Biden done snuck him on in there. by endorsing Kamala Harris, he's forced the party to focus on her, not who Nancy Pelosi wanted them to. So I said, I know what's going to happen next. Gavin Newsom is going to fall back. Now, he's going to be hoping Kamala Harris loses, but I said Gavin Newsom is going to fall back. And if Kamala Harris loses, when Kamala Harris loses, he's going to step up and say he needs to be the candidate in 2028. The Democrats are going to shift their focus, and all of a sudden it'll be nakedly obvious that he's the 2028. I said that if Kamala Harris doesn't run, Gavin Newsom will run in 2024, but that's very unlikely. He'll be running in 2028, and it's all gone down exactly the way I said. Biden is out. Kamala Harris is in. When she loses, that sets up Gavin Newsom to run in 2028. And you'll all remember I said when Joe Biden got kicked out of the White House, I said this is the California coup. Nancy Pelosi is pulling the strings. Now, everybody has admitted Nancy Pelosi and later Barack Obama, they got together and pulled the strings. And their goal was that it would either be Kamala or Gavin. They wanted Gavin. Joe kind of bystepped that, but it doesn't matter because Kamala is on Team California. Kamala Harris is Team California. So this was Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom with some help from Barack Obama. This is a California coup. But they were not competent enough or capable enough to go ahead and win the election. They didn't have the ability to do it. Gavin Newsom is back again. So he thinks he's setting himself up for 2028. Remember I said he thinks he's running for president. He's really not, but he thinks he is. So everybody's trying to get themselves in the position. And Gavin Newsom is showing you what Nancy Pelosi, what I said, remember 3 years ago with that thing was on CNN from Chris Cillizza. I was talking about Nancy Pelosi and them then, about tacking to the right. I said it then about the Democrats, specifically Nancy Pelosi, tacking to the right. And I said that if they lose to Trump, they're going to be talking more right-wing than Trump is. People, did it happen? Did I call it or did I call it? Jason, are they going to learn their lessons? Remember, I've been consistent. Hell no. Losing one presidential election is not going to stop them or change what they're doing. I let y'all know, look, folks, we're in a marathon, not a sprint. I've been saying this since the beginning. Losing 2024 election is not going to change what they're doing. It's going to be brutal for them. It's going to be excruciating, but they're going to dust themselves off. And when their swollen lips go back down, they're going to say, okay, let's see if we can slightly tweak the formula we've been using and then recycle it and run it again. But one election is not going to be enough to break their benign neglect policy towards us. It won't be enough. So they're showing you we're going to go ahead and recycle this thing and go back and try it one more again. They're going to try it one more again. And so they're looking to see where its viability will be. Did you all forget about it? Hopefully Trump will be bad enough that you'll all finally break before we do. We're going to run the same playbook again. I told everybody it's not going to change. One election will not do it. They're going to have to lose a few before it finally breaks their will to continue these policies like this. But the ones who are married to the game, they ain't going no damn where. Nancy Pelosi is married to the game. She ain't going nowhere. She's going to stand by this no matter what. She's married to the game. She's married to the game. Gavin Newsom doesn't have anything without her, so he's married to her. Pause. Kamala Harris is looking for a payoff. She's done in politics, but if they don't break her off some paper to hold her down for the rest of her damn life, she's going to start snitching. She's let them know, hey, by the way, I'm writing a book. We all know what that means. And she's like, look here, if y'all don't break some paper, I figure I need me about 50 or 100 mil. If y'all don't break some paper, I'm going to start making like Shakespeare. Let me start writing this book. Start letting folks know what I know. They gonna cut a check. Let's be very, very clear. They're gonna cut a check. They're gonna do it. They're going to give us some bull jive ass book deal or some Netflix deal, and here go $50 million. You're like, who the hell paying that? All right, shut your ass up. But this is the way it's going to go. The Democrats have made their decision because of the California contingent. We need to tack more to the right. And how can we triangulate for the black support that we're not going to get? Because we don't want to discuss that issue. Every time we talk to black folk now, they only want to discuss economics. They don't want to discuss anything else. We can't hoodwink them the way we used to. So what are we going to do? Well, just ignore them and see if they give in and go away. Oh, that's not working out too great neither. Now what? Now, what happens next here is they sit up here, they do the little podcast and stuff. Gavin Newsome realizes that doesn't work. Josh Shapiro thinks he's still circling out there somewhere, although something's wrong over there. If we don't hear anything from Shapiro next year, they got to him and let him know, yeah, it ain't going to happen for you. But for the rest of them, that's what this is about. For the rest of them, that's what this is about, and that's what this is on. For them. And take a look at how these white supremacists and suspected white supremacists got together and make it nice so easily. Very interesting. When it's time to talk, the Democrats did not come and talk to the people they need support from. They're always going to talk to other people that they hope they can get support from. Let's go talk to LGBT. Let's go talk to Asians. Let's go talk to non-citizens. Let's go talk to white so-called working class. Let's go talk to white Confederates. Everything except the black base that you already have access to. Now, the good thing about being the anchor man of the new black media is, unlike rolling the bowling ball, Martin, I don't have to sit up here and kiss nobody's ass or lie through my teeth about anything. Roland's going to tell you the Democrats are the answer because they give him his daily bread. I don't have that problem. So I can sit here and tell you the Democrats are no different than the Republicans as far as being useless and anti-black. Now they're showing nakedly that, by the way, they'll just be the other side of white supremacy. That's what it's about now. It's about how we're going to make that work. And 2028 is their goal. Do not be surprised if 2028 does not work. If and when 2028 fails, look for the Democrats to start scrambling again. Next, what they're going to say, and I'm saying this today before anybody else says it, if the Democrats lose in 2028, and 2026 will be a preview. If the Democrats lose in 2028, then you are going to hear the party say that the problem is age. Now that's when that one is going to start to take off. You'll see the party no longer be afraid to call out Nancy Pelosi, although she'll probably have left politics altogether by then. And you're going to hear them say that the problem is age. You're going to hear them say the problem is the old guard. You're going to hear them say that we need new blood and they need to listen to the younger folks there. You're going to hear that. But here's the problem with that one. The problem with that one is even the so-called younger politicians are all eager to get that support from the money people. The money people are the ones who set the policy. So you're going to have to go ahead and dance to whatever tune they come up with, and that's the point. You're going to have to go along with that. So they will just find a younger version of Nancy Pelosi, a younger version of Gavin Newsome, and tell them, okay, this is going to be the program and this is going to be the game plan, and y'all going to roll with it. If you want our support, if you want our money, if you want our access, you going to have to roll with this. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so next thing you know, it's rinse and repeat. Hey, don't bring us no damn black agenda because we owe reparations to all of them. Don't do that. We want somebody who can figure out some way to repackage LGBT, repackage illegal alien, repackage some of that. We want somebody to do that. But don't bring us no black agenda. We're not trying to hear it. So that's what they're going to do. At least that's what they're gearing up to do. But right now, this YouTube thing and whatnot, what they're saying is, hey, we're looking for somebody who can deliver the vote. We're looking for somebody who can make it sexy. And there's the killing thing about it is that ain't going to work. That's not even going to work. The issue isn't that you don't have a cool enough podcaster or a cool enough internet host or somebody with a good enough baritone. That's not the issue. The issue is your anti-black policies and your anti-black positions. That is the problem. You can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. We don't want to discuss any of your trick bag language or any of your red herrings. We only want to discuss what we came to talk about. And if that ain't on the table, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Your policies are the problem. It's not that you don't have the right slogan or you don't have the right candidate. Your policies towards us, that's the problem. And you're not going to be able to hold up Trump as some boogeyman and tell us that ignore the fact that we are promoting anti-black policies. Don't worry about that. Trump is more anti-black than we are. We're not going for that. That one's not going to work. But they think if they start an internet show that that's going to, I guess they decided that Pod Save America and all their left wingers, I guess they decided, well, let's see if we can get some mileage out of that. I guess they decided that. I guess Newsome decided he didn't want to leave it to somebody else because his face wouldn't be on it. So he's got to take care of that himself. Do you all think it's working? Maybe you do. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and open up the Zoom for you to go ahead and give us a call up on it, and you can let us know whether or not you think it's working, whether or not you think it's got legs, whether or not you think it's a viable strategy. You got to let us know that. You can let me know whether or not you think Gavin is making headway. Is this being successful? Is Gavin succeeding in proving to the right wingers that he's a viable candidate that they should consider in 2028? Is he? You'll have your opportunity here to go ahead and weigh in on that. Go ahead and pin the Zoom link to the top of the chat room, so you are more than welcome to go ahead and give us a call. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who's contributed to a nice program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Nancy King, you called the TBA, call the paperwork was dirty, and she never stood on blackness. Cut the check, B1 all day and every day. We appreciate that. Shout out here to Cyberdyne 100. Thank you very much for your support here as well. A.O., Kassan Kelly, my man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you very much for your support as well. Mark B., and everyone else there. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we will take some of your calls on Zoom and more. This is the Black Channel.
When you visit MrBeTheTeacher.com, you can get a copy of his award-winning book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. While you're there, grab one of his newest tunes along with fun and educational lyric videos.
Never give up, don't worry, never give up, study. In order to 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times swap names, he, she, they, and we. Simplify the Daddy's advice as the father and guide. Mommy multiplies and shares on what they buy.
You can also acquire his tutoring services via varsitytutors.com or tutor.com. If you wish to speak to Steve Burgess directly, you can do so through MrBeTheTeacher.com.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snakes and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoneyBadgerandthemongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today. to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we have the Zoom up here. We are talking about the fact that now the Democrats are trying to get into broadcasting, podcasting, the internet. They have sent out no less than Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsome straight to YouTube. It's very clear to me that they are floating these as trial balloons to see about their viability and their likability by the general public to be candidates for 2028. They are very, very determined to make sure that the era of Trump ends very, very quickly. We'll see whether or not it succeeds. What do you say here? The link for the Zoom is pinned at the top of the chat room there, so you are more than welcome to go ahead and join us. Let's go ahead and get over here on Zoom here first. I'm going to see if I can bring Zate up here on Zoom. If you call up on Zoom, just make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. Nobody else is going to see you except me, but just make sure you have that turned on there. All right, we got Brother Zate here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
What's going on, Brother Jason? I know you were saying that around the 2028 election, they're going to start blaming it on age. I think they already kind of going their way a little bit, or at least trying to flirt with the idea of bringing in a younger crew of Democrats, the Democratic Party, to try to swing us to their side. But they too stuck in their ways. That won't even work. They can save themselves a whole bunch of trouble if they just go look under them comments and just see what the people are saying.
I disagree with that. The age thing does have a lane that allows it to work. This has been the whole big thing. I mean, like the Young Turks, they've been talking about it since they're no longer young anymore, by the way. So I mean, once you're over 50 and whatnot, you're not young anyway, but the Young Turks been talking about this for 2 decades. And that's their real lane that they're in. The Democrats need to get rid of the Chuck Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi's and the old guard that held them back. But please understand what their grievance is. The Cenk Uygurs and their ilk, their issue with the old guard is that they were holding them back. So if they can use this moment as a tool to be able to finally remove them from the equation, then as far as they're concerned, that's a win. So, because at least it resets the paradigm. So that's what they're really about. And there's a good number of folk who are with that. Because here's the thing. Van Jones was talking about this, and Van Jones is right, that this was a status quo election. The people were tired of the status quo. The Democrats and their partners in the media were firmly demonstrating that they were the agents of the status quo. That's what they were here for. We here for the status quo. And that in an anti-status quo election, being for the status quo is doom. So the Democrats are looking for their own version of anti-status quo to go for. And this actually will work in their favor, because take a look at how old Trump is. Now, the way he shielded them for 2028, though, is you got J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. He's surrounded himself with a bunch of folks significantly younger than him. So the age argument's not going to hurt him as much, but among the Democrats, this will allow those who've been trying for a long time to get the old guard out the way. This will finally clear a lane for them to go ahead and finally bulldoze them out of the way. Finally. And I think that to them would matter more. That matters more to them than winning another election. What they'll say is the reason we can't win the election is because the old guard's in the way. So it would be worth it for them to lose an election if it gets rid of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and them. It would be worth it for them to do it. And there's a lot of others, brother. There's a lot of others. You know, I don't want to throw Nina Turner's name in it, but I mean, I'm sure she agrees with that. The Van Joneses, so that guard, that people that came up after the Bill Clinton era, after the Barack Obama era, yeah, they've been like, it's our turn. It's our time. Ocasio-Cortez, you know, there's a bunch of them out there. This is our time. And they'll, if they can get away with it, yeah, they'll make this about age. And to be totally honest, I mean, it can work because the baby boomer generation, I mean, they're all a bunch of septuagenarians now, at least. So the environment's not going to be as friendly toward them going forward and as deferential going forward as it has been. Being a proponent for the old guard and the status quo and the old way, it's not going to get any more popular, man. It's not going to get more popular. It's only going to get less popular because they're the only ones supporting the status quo. So it'll be worth it to them. So I'm not saying that it's going to win an election. What I am saying is that no, there's enough of them who are very they would be very interested to do that if for no other reason than it settles some old scores and it finishes up some old business. They would be in favor of that. So that's why I'm predicting that's what's going to. They've already telegraphed they're kind of moving in that direction. I'm predicting if it goes the way I'm saying, look for that to be what happens next. Hey, we got to get these old folk up out of here. And one more thing, there's a precedent for it right here. What? There's a precedent for it right here. The national media, Fox News, they are acknowledging that the problem is in black society, the civil rights generation doesn't hold sway anymore. Nobody's looking for Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton to show up. There's a new generation that's come of age, and they got different priorities, and they're not doing things the same old same. So there's a precedent for that over here. That's what I'm saying. On the internet, Breaking Points and some of the folks on Fox, they were saying that the Democrat Party has become the party of the old and LGBT. That's what they said. When it comes to the black vote. The Democrat Party's appeal to the black vote is to the very old and the LGBT. And that's it. We've been saying that now for a decade. So they're letting you know, brother, the word is out. So the old guard doesn't have sway over here. And there's some other folks out there looking, saying, hey, we got to do with that. By the way, that's the whole thing with the Republicans. Same thing, too. So this is about being anti-status quo. And, yeah, the environment's going to get worse. I don't think Nancy Pelosi's going to be gone. This is going to be her last term in office, so she'll be gone next year. She'll be gone after next year. So she's jumping ship. Chuck Schumer will still be around as long as he can walk out there. We'll see. But don't count that out, brother. Don't count that out at all. You're going to see him do that. Because the other thing is what they got. The LGBT wave is over. The illegal alien wave is real over. So just what else they got, brother? What else they have? I'll let you have the last word.
Look, Jason, like always, man, you putting on a master class like always. And I just want to say shout out to the fam out there. Keep beating that drum until we get what we want or take what we need. I love y'all.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Yeah, y'all, like I say, I mean, this is what this is about, man. This is what it's about. The old guard, there's always been these internal conflicts. We've always known about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's been able to hold strong despite attempts to remove her. There's always been beef with her and Nancy Pelosi. Please understand, when Nancy Pelosi leaves office, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is she gonna be dancing the Millie Rock. She gonna be twerking that little bony rump. She gonna be sitting up here doing the Watusi and the Tootsie Roll. She gonna be doing everything. I didn't say she gonna be doing it right, but she gonna be doing everything. Trust me, she'll be sitting up there. She'll probably call a temporary national holiday. There's a bunch of them who want to clear out some of the old guard. And that's at the top of their agenda. Damn a presidential election, because this is what's in their best interests. They're very much in favor of that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Robert up here on Zoom. Let me get Robert on Zoom. All right, Robert, what's on your mind?
TBA, one of the greatest master teachers in the history of our lineage, and our anchor man of the new black media. I just wanted to say that real quick. Real quick, I'm in and out like a robbery, TBA. I just wanted to remind the brothers and sisters who are watching this great program tonight. Brothers and sisters, TBA, he rarely, if ever, asks us for money. It's just a quick reminder to the listening audience, like including myself. You know what I mean? We got over 2,000 people in the house right now, and I just checked the numbers real quick. You send a little $4.99 super chat, whatever you can donate, whatever you can. Imagine 25% of us do that. You know what I mean? That 50% of us, 2,000 people who currently in the house do that. You know what the brother can do with that type of contribution. Last thing I want to say, we watched the Democrats when Kamala Harris threw out the back call. We watched them raise major money. People were excited, galvanized. I mean, overnight, millions of dollars. They were talking about it and all of that. So TBA often reminds us that this is a war, and war's got to be funded by the believers of the cause. Peace to the B1 family. Thanks, TBA.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate the support as always. And I want to thank everyone for their support here tonight, as I always do here, because without you all, it doesn't happen. I'm just one man. I'm just one person. I am the messenger. You are the message I came to give. Shout out here to my man, Mr. Tahuti. Thank you very much for your support, brother. We appreciate that. Lisa B and everyone else here who has contributed to my program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. Let me see if I can get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, big brother? Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
All right, big brother. Hey, good evening to you and the family. Excellent broadcast tonight. With this whole Democrat, I make the prediction they are pretty much done, because you said it best. They refuse to go to their base, and they're not gonna. I believe they would be willing to trash and burn in hell before they give us what we want.
Well, the folks who are backing it right now, like I said, the party is in complete disarray right now. The Democrat Party is in complete and utter disarray. Nobody's leading it. Hakeem Jeffries, there's a reason why Nancy Pelosi didn't fight him, for leadership, because he ain't running nothing. So he's a non-issue. There is no Democrat that people are waiting to hear. Please stop it about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has always been able to get a crowd. He just can't get elected. So folks, stop it. Just get over it. Then nobody's worried about Bernie Sanders. So the Democrats don't have anything, but here's the real issue, brother. What they lack the most? They lack a policy. They lack a message. They lack an agenda. What are they in favor of that the people will want to get behind? What are they in favor of? They were asked what they're going to do for us, and they still come back to us talking about damning Medicaid and scholarships. That's literally what they're coming to us talking about. So when you've got an agenda that is that scatterbrained, that schizophrenic, leadership that is that out to lunch and that unknowing, that means something. That means something.
Yes, sir.
So right now, brother, ain't nobody running the ship. This is like watching a car speeding down the freeway at 100 miles an hour. Ain't nobody behind the damn wheel. Nobody is running this thing. Nobody is steering it. No one is in charge. There's no one to hold accountable. Hakeem Jeffries is just a name. There's no one there, man. No one. There is no agenda. They're not coalescing around one. And to be totally honest with you, there's a bunch of folk who want it that way.
Yes, sir.
They do, because this is how wars are fought. From chaos, you get to establish a new order. And what they're going to do is be like,
Yes,
what I'm predicting is that there are some elements in there that they're not from California. They want to knock off that California contingency, that California constituency. So Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsome, y'all got to go. Y'all got to go. We want to just start over from a clean slate. So that kind of explains why Michelle Obama done popped up again out of nowhere. There are people who see opportunity. If you can remove the old guard, if you can get the old order out the way, there are folks who see opportunities, man. And I'm letting y'all know they're getting in position to make their move. They're getting in a position to make their move. You're going to see these folks getting together $100 million, $200 million. They're getting ready to make their move, man. They're getting ready to make their move, and their move will not include Gavin Newsome or Kamala Harris. Look for that one. Whoever they coalesce around, I don't know if it's going to be Shapiro. I don't know. But you're going to find out by next year who they're coalescing around. Don't worry, you won't have to wait too much longer. 2026, we'll find out whoever it is that they think that is going to be their horse to back. We'll find them out next year.
I got a tag along question though, because you mentioned Michelle Obama. There's nonstop rumors about her and Mr. Obama about to divorce, or at least it seems like it. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. And my question, okay, they're trying to groom her up. How is she gonna even possibly make it if she so-called divorces that man?
She's not divorcing Obama. So folks been talking about that forever. Michelle's not divorcing Obama any more than Hillary Clinton's divorcing Bill.
Okay.
If anybody thinks Monica Lewinsky was not Bill Clinton's first mistress, first hoe, first jump off, and she wasn't the last. Tell me where you are going to have the relevance that you do being Bill Clinton's wife. Tell me. Where's that going to happen?
No.
Does anybody give a damn about, brother, do you even know what Michelle Obama's name was before she married Barack Obama? Now, you know, you can tell me what Hillary Clinton's name was. But what about Michelle?
Yeah, Robinson. Right.
Elijah wins the trivia contest. 99% of the people couldn't tell you that. And here's the thing. Even if you know it, does anybody care about Michelle Robinson?
Not at all. That nothing showed that more when her mother died. Not too many people made a big deal about it. So that told me right there, her outside of Barack she's pretty irrelevant.
And that's what you have right there. So without Barack, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So you don't have relevance. He is who gives her relevance. She ain't trying to give it up, brother. Please understand that. Do you understand what happens when she goes to Paris to go shopping, which she does often? When she goes to Paris to go shopping, when she goes to London, when she goes to Aspen to go skiing, and they take a look at that itinerary and it says Michelle Obama. Do you understand what that status does? Doors open.
Yes, sir.
Red carpets get rolled out.
Yes,
I mean, she is American royalty. And if she divorces that man, it's back to screech. Just like that. Nobody gives a damn about Michelle Robinson. If your husband wasn't that dude, you would be irrelevant. So yeah, you can only let go of that name once. Brother, that's a meal ticket. That name has got Netflix throwing mills. That name had Spotify throwing mills. Michelle Robinson can't get enough money to go get a Burger King. That's not going to float nowhere. That name Obama, that name opens doors. It opens embassies. It opens royal palaces. It opens castles. It opens exclusive resorts. It opens boardrooms. You call Taylor Swift and she answers the phone her damn self.
Yes, sir.
You call Beyonce and she answers the phone the damn self. Hey, Michelle. You divorced Barack and see how that goes. Yeah, hey, I ain't the former first lady no more. We done broke up and things. You have reached Beyonce's voicemail. Please leave a message after the tone. Bootylicious. and there you go. Brother, you know that's the way it is? Come on now.
Of course. Yes, sir.
Dude, she literally has, I can't even say she has 1 degree of separation from Obama. She's sitting right next to the nigga. If she divorces him, you know damn well, oh, she on the outside. Oh, you outside, you can't get a hold of nobody I need.
Right.
That's the way that goes. So, brother, no, there ain't nobody divorcing. This marriage is going to end at a funeral. That's where this marriage is going to end. This marriage is going to end at a funeral. It's not going to end in front of no judge. You cannot buy what that woman's got right now. You can't buy it.
Of course not.
And besides, why would you divorce him? Why? Barack is already letting you have side niggas if you need them. It's not like he fighting to get in bed with you. He's sitting over here trying to find a dude to smack on. So, no, bro, he ain't. It's not like he's in the damn way. Michelle can do what she please. Michelle can do what she please. Like Kris Kardashian, she can do what she please. Barack ain't in the damn way. She can have a little boy toy action. She can sit up here and lay up with one of the Secret Service agents. What do they call him? Big Brown Leroy? Big Leroy Brown? Whatever that is. Yeah, bad Leroy Brown. And she got her Secret Service agents. Don't worry, Barack. I'm protecting her right now. Nigga, it's 2 in the morning. It's 2 in the damn morning. Why'd you answer Michelle's cell phone? I'm protecting her right now, Barack. All right, Leroy. Barack ain't got no objection. He just gonna roll over and be like, "Hey, Steve, don't worry. Michelle got somebody right now. She good." That's the way that's going. There's no reason to divorce. We're divorced for what? What you gonna get that Barack's gonna stand in the way of? That he's gonna fight you over? What are you going to get? So, but she already got it now. You think Michelle Obama wants to get remarried? Have more kids? Brother, but get remarried, have more kids? Come on now. Who's going to tell me who is standing in line and can't wait to take Michelle Obama and do for her what Barack done did? Tell me who is doing that. I don't give a damn if you were a Bill Clinton fan or a Bill Clinton hater. How many of y'all are ready to take Hillary Clinton off the market and give her what Bill given her? How many of you are looking for Laura Bush to take her off the market and give her with George? How many of y'all are looking to give Michelle Obama with Barack giving her? Which one of y'all is lined up to do that? Which one of you has become a multi-billionaire? So you're like, well, I sure am glad you broke up with Barack. He wasn't the right one for you, no way.
Right.
Who's doing that, bro? Who's doing that who got to marry it? So that ship done sailed and sunk. If Kamala Harris divorces Doug, do you think Montel Williams is trying to get at it? No. I'm just saying. You think Christopher Williams or Keith Sweat is waiting for Kamala Harris? What?
No.
So no, bro. That is what it is. When they get to this point right here, that's over. The last time something like that happened was Al and Tipper Gore, and that's only because Al lost the election. If Al Gore had won that damn election, Tipper Gore would still be taking antidepressants to this damn day and strutting her way through that marriage.
Oh wow.
She would still be limping her way through that marriage to this day. No, bro. When you win the election, you win it all. And oh yeah, the folks around you let you know that's the only reason your ass gets to stay here. When Al Gore lost the election, he lost all the access, bro. He lost all the access. He lost all the contacts. And she like, I'll be damn, ain't no reason for me to sit here and stay married to your cornball ass. I ain't getting nothing for it. That's it. I'm out of here. The rest of them, it's like, oh, hello, Miss Obama. I'm Miss Robinson. Oh. Yes, Miss Robinson. Let me see if we got a suite available for you here. I never have to wait for one. Yeah, brother, what happens when you're no longer afraid that a former president of the United States will be upset? She's just another female now. You know full damn well when you say Michelle Obama, you thinking I'll be damn, the Secret Service will come here and yank my ass out of here. Let me get this woman in the room. Whatever she want, whatever she need, we're going to take care of it. So if you know Barack ain't showing up, I'll be damned. Man, put this heifer down there at the Motel 6. We ain't got no room here. You think she wants to go back? You think she wants to go back to that? Think about that for a few moments. Do you really think that Michelle Obama wants to go back to that?
Right. No, she don't. She better not.
So that's what it's going to be. So y'all just hanging up. No, she ain't going nowhere. She married to the game, bro. She's married to the game. She ain't trying to let that go. This is what she going to have on a tombstone. That's it. It's a wrap.
I want one follow up statement, and then I'm gonna land my plane. When you mentioned LGBT, and nothing showed the Democrats never really gave a damn about LGBT when Governor Newsome admitted to Charlie Kirk. All right, and it wasn't really so much of an admittance. He already knew a long time ago that LGBT was never a winning issue. Okay, and the Democrats, I heard Tariq mention it. The Democrats just used the LGBT and lumped them in with the minority, with this minority coalition, so they can basically make them a buffer group against Black people. All right, them white folks, they never cared about LGBT. Never. There's too few of them. As far as politically, they have a lot of money, but there's too few of them to care about them. So they knew from the jump, no, they were just using them as a prop against Black people.
Well, here's the thing. Well, first of all, right now, Newsom's not really having any real issues about that because, yeah, I mean, it's made attention where he wanted to make attention. It's in the middle of Trump doing every antic possible here. But he can go ahead and throw that out there now. He's doing it early. He's not going to suffer a whole bunch of ills about it because who's running the party?
Right.
I mean, right now, who's really gonna hold him accountable for anything? There's no one running the damn thing. No one. So there's no one to go at him. Anybody who does express any, negative sentiments or whatnot, who the hell are you?
Right.
So there's nobody who's a power broker or anybody in a position of power or authority to really give him any real problems about this. So what does he lose to go ahead and throw that out there? You see what I mean? Well, it's not going to hurt him. This doesn't hurt him at this point. And try to see this from Gavin's perspective here. What's he got to lose? Right. What does he have to lose? What does he have to lose by trying to pivot? What does he have to lose? Well, you'll lose the election. He's losing it right now. So if you don't do something different, then don't be surprised if you get the same results. So what's he got to lose by trying this? A Hail Mary, but might as well go for
it. And my whole thing is, unfortunately, back to your teaching, big brother, when you said Black people in California were done, when you said that many years ago, we got to be honest. To add more fire to the more fuel to the fire, he was the presiding mayor of San Francisco. Okay, when he removed all those Black people out of the city for those techies, he should have never been able to make it that far to governor. But because of the small Black numbers in California, there was nothing the Black people can do about it.
I mean, like I say, that kind of stuff, it's like with Florida. You can get some of that crap to fly in one state. You get in trouble when you try to run a national campaign. Because what you're hoping is that nobody outside of your state was paying attention when you did these things. So you might pay a price politically in your state, but you won't pay one nationally when you get national aspirations. When you take a look at Kamala Harris, it almost worked for her. Almost. Gavin Newsom's case, same verse, the second verse, same as the first. It could have worked for him, except now there were just too many eyes on him. Too many eyes. But other than that, yeah, they were able to get away with it because of the population in California. But it's like, but by the way, the rest of the Black folk around the nation were paying attention. So now if the nation is California, it's like, oh, now we all get a vote.
That sounds like Michael Bloomberg right there.
Well, here's the issue. The issue for Gavin Newsom in California is that there are no Black folks supporting him. He doesn't have any Black support in California. You can't get Black support nationally when the Black folk where you are already down on you. That's the problem. It would be different if Black folk in California were united behind him. At least that would even be different. He doesn't even have that. You don't have any Black folk in California to go around to the rest of us in Texas and Florida and Louisiana and the Carolinas and Georgia and say, hey, we need to support Gavin. He ain't got that. There is no spokesperson among the people to come and support him and to vouch for him. That's the problem. So he's like, man, screw it. I got to do something different altogether. I ain't got no support. I don't have it. And anybody who does jump up to try to support him, they're going to get knocked down. And they've already seen that. The situation with the fires out there with Karen Bass has already shown that. There's not a leg to stand on, brother. He's in the Badlands.
That's right. Yes, sir. Hey, B1, brother, I'm going to land my plane right here. Thank you so much for tonight's broadcast, and B1 to you and family.
Thank you for this call tonight. Yeah, like I say, man, look here. He's got nothing to lose. I mean, it's cynical and it's shameless. Yeah, but he ain't got nothing to lose. What's he got to lose by standing on it? What's he got to lose by trying something different? What's he got to lose by pivoting? What's he got to lose by seeing, well, can I find somebody else to support him? What's he got to lose? He'll lose the black vote. He already lost it. He'll lose it again. Come on now. So he's got to try to make something work. Well, let's see if these Trump voters, let me see if I can peel off some of them. Let me see if I can get some of these Trump supporters and some of these Trump voters to go ahead and vouch for me and boost my numbers some. Because the black vote, it's like, it's going to be too hard to get that one. They're asking for too much and they're asking too many difficult questions. I can't really have that. That's what he's having issues with. I got Brandon here on Zoom. Brandon, I can give you 5 seconds to go ahead and make sure you have your camera microphone turned on. I'll give you 5 seconds here. We won't wait around all evening here, but Brandon, we can give you 5 seconds to go ahead and get that going. And then we can go ahead and have you come on here. So Brandon, make sure you have everything going on. I just need your camera and microphone turned on here, Brandon. I'll give you 2 more seconds and that'll be it, sir. We got Brandon on Zoom. Okay, we had Brandon on Zoom. We no longer have Brandon on Zoom. So please understand here, people. Please understand that right now the Democrats are looking for an easy answer. They're flailing in the wind. They are refusing to acknowledge the simple and obvious truth because they don't want to have this conversation about the issues that we said. They are willing to lose another couple of elections if it means ignoring that. So what does that tell you? That shows you the level of contempt that they've harbored for us all this time. And once again, I say to you that this is good. This is good. This is what we want. We want this. I want folks to drop the damn phony pretenses. I want them to drop the damn fake support. I want them to just go ahead and come out with it. I've been saying this since day one. I ain't never going to be mad to see people flying their real flags and showing their real colors. I'm never going to be having a problem with that. I want everyone to come out with their hands up and show exactly whose side they're on. No more faking, no more fronting, no more fooling around, no more camouflage, no more being a chameleon. Let's just go ahead and see exactly where you stand. Let's make it where you have nothing to gain by lying. So go ahead and just say exactly what the hell it is and let the real damn thing out. That's what I've been waiting on. I've been waiting on that, and I am more than pleased to see it. I have no fear and no problem and no trepidation with that being the case. Not an issue at all. All right, we're over here on Zoom. I got Morpheus here on Zoom. Morpheus, are you dressed?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Okay, why do I always get a nigga shirtless on my program? All right, what's on your mind?
No, I was good. I saw Gavin Newsome. I was just I'm meaning to call you for a while because I saw that episode of him with Charlie Kirk, and then he also had one. I don't know if you saw it with what's that guy Savage? I forgot his name, Michael Savage, and he was just like you said. He's pivoting to what you call the white racist vote, and I was just like, and it was so cringy with Charlie Kirk, whatever that guy's name. I forgot his name. He's trying to say, "Oh, my son loves you. My son loves." Gavin Newsome saying it. His son loves watching Charlie Kirk. I'm like, this dude's a big racist, and he always makes fun of Gavin Newsom. Why would someone's son watch a guy that make fun of his father all the time? And then,
I won't say all the time, but remember, in white society, it's understood. Hold on to your point there for a moment because I want you to finish. But I want to interject right now. Just say, remember, they play it like it's supposed to be played. This is a game for them. It's like football. At the end of the game, they all come together and shake hands. This is just their stated and established method of resolving disputes. But once it's over, brother, they all sit up here, have a drink about it, and sit up here and go back to practicing white supremacy. They're not arguing over whether there should be white supremacy. They're just arguing over how to practice it. Gavin Newsome says, hey, you got to snuggle up to the niggas and make them comfortable with you and make them feel like you're their buddy. And then you can give them nothing and they won't revolt. Charlie Kirk is like, man, if you don't sit up here and tell them, get rid of this DEI, then we're going to give you nothing. And Gavin, wait a minute, you're going to get them to start revolting on things. That's bad for business. Charlie Kirk, we're just going to back down. Yeah, that takes away from GD. So you see, it's always been that. Nobody is arguing that there shouldn't be white supremacy. They both only differ about what the method should be used to maintain it. And so all the theatrics and, it's like the WWE, bro. It really, really is. I want y'all to understand that these people, they just cutting promos. That's all. Charlie Kirk cutting promos on them. That's what it is. And everybody understands that. All of them understand it. It's the electorate that don't get it. It's the electorate who thinks it's more serious than that. They already know it's not like that. Not like what you all think.
But it's already dead in the mud, not just because on our side with what he did with reparations over there in California. But if you read the comment section, none of those white people are fooled. It's like, I think what you said, they're going to want the real deal white supremacy. They know Gavin Newsom is fake and phony. If you read the comment section, none of them are fooling it. Like if you didn't know who he was, it would come off pretty good. But they know who he is. They know what he did to California.
Well, here's the thing, man. The crime, the homeless, the taxes, even though Gavin Newsom is not really responsible, like for taxes or regulations, for example, he is the governor. So because you're the governor, if you're not doing anything about these things, you're responsible for that. You're not responsible for putting them there, true. But you are responsible if they remain there. Now, that's what you're responsible for. So in his case, he's making an earnest effort to try to address he's not even addressing the issues. What he's doing is what folk were saying wasn't going to happen. He's acknowledging the issue. So this goes back to something I've talked about here before. People will listen to you if they think you're listening to them. So what he's doing is showing people that this is not a foreign thing, and he's willing to acknowledge that these things exist, which the party up until this point wasn't even willing to do. They were telling us everything was great under Joe Biden. So what he's trying to show is that he'll at least acknowledge that these issues exist. Okay, but once he acknowledges they exist, remember where we coming from. So what are you going to do about it? All those slick stuff about we can have a conversation about how acknowledging exists. Okay, but you acknowledging exists, but is that now what's going to be the new policy? Oh, it ain't going to be no new policy. Really? I didn't ask you here because I need a guidance counselor to listen to me vent. You're supposed to take care of the agenda. So that's the part that's not happening.
Also, I don't know if you talked. I came in a little bit late. Did you see what the black brothers over there, and I think it was Ohio, where they were going against the neo-Nazis? And now, as you see the news thing, they're trying to flip it on the black people because they have a mask on, where the neo-Nazis had the mask on and they said nothing about it and was protecting them. I don't know if you were talking about that earlier.
The revolution will not be televised. Gil Scott Heron, please understand, he was talking about stuff showing up on the news on a song called The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. The point he was making was not that there will not be television. That wasn't the point he was trying to make. The point he was trying to make was that popular opinion as influenced by television, you ain't going to be who decides what's going to happen. That's the point he was making. There will be television, but the revolution is not going to be decided by what's on what the folks on TV want to show you. Whether the folks on TV want to try to portray this as good or whether the folks on TV want to try to portray this as bad, the revolution is not dependent on your television personalities or whatever they think or whatever the local news thinks. Whether the local news loves it, whether the local news hates it, the revolution is on. Right. Regardless. So I know what you're talking about, and that's my position on that. The revolution will not be televised. It will not be dependent on whether or not MSNBC thinks it's a great thing and whether or not Rachel Maddow decides to put on her red heels tonight because of something she saw us doing. That's what it's going to be. This is not an opinion poll. We're not having an election. This is not going to be decided by popular vote. And we're damn sure not focus testing it to see what our Q rating is and whether or not, what percentage of the people approve of this? No, we're not holding a poll. Except the one we're knocking upside the head with. Well, we're not taking a poll. No, we're really not. We're not taking the poll. We're not taking the sample. We're not looking for approval. If you like it, great. If you don't, equally great. We doing this regardless.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I just thought it was hilarious how they try to flip the script. I'm like, you got real neo-Nazis, you got Elon Musk doing Nazi salutes, and then you worry about black people having masks on protecting themselves. I mean, wow. It just illustrates your point of everything you've been talking about. One other thing about Gavin Newsom, well, the Democrats, I'm pretty sure you saw it. They were talking about how they need to have Democratic version of Joe Rogan and all these podcasts and stuff. And they were saying how Trump was always campaigning. And I guess that's what Gavin Newsom is trying to do. It's always campaigning. So he thinks once the new presidential cycle comes along, he can just go through. And that's just not going to work because the white people that he's trying to get, they don't like him. And then black people, he's already dead with us, what he did with California. We ain't forgetting that. They think we're going to forget, but we ain't going to forget.
In the case of Gavin Newsom, obviously they've talked to consultants and people who told them that you need to talk to the people, and specifically you need to talk to people who don't agree with you. And you need to do it online. You need to do it on these podcasts and stuff. So you have to demonstrate that you can and will talk to the people, including positions that are not popular and that you have a lot of negatives against you in these areas. So you need to address them. You can't sit up here and act like it doesn't exist. You have to address it. Obviously, that's what they told him. And this is the method that they settled on that he should use to be able to address that. I guess to show he's fearless and he's not, there's nothing he's not willing to talk about. And, okay, well, you get points for creativity even though you're late is the real issue. But that's all you're going to get points for because the people you're talking to don't matter. The problem, brother, with talking to Charlie Kirk is he doesn't support you and he never will. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing that Gavin Newsom can say to Charlie Kirk that's going to get Charlie Kirk to support him. There's nothing you can say to Steve Bannon that's going to get Steve Bannon to support you. And there's damn sure nothing you're going to say to Michael Savage to get Michael Savage to support you. So what I'm saying is that while you're demonstrating that you're willing to talk to them, by the way, you're talking to people who do not support you and never will. You're not going to get one vote off of them. Maybe you're hoping that some of their listeners may flip and change. Here's the problem. You're going to talk to him and his audience for 1 hour. They're going to go back and go make videos every damn day about you for the next 4 years. Talking about how terrible you are. So what I'm saying is you're not going to get any mileage out of these videos. You're not going to get any mileage out of that with their audience. They're just going to go back and talk about what a demon and dog you are. That's why this is it's creative politics, but it's dumb politics too. Or should I say it's going to be ineffective. So what he wanted to do was take over the headlines and get some views. He did that. He wanted to make some news and headlines and be at the top of the cable TV programs, and he did that. And that's going to be all it is.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to convert them. I mean, the only way he can get through is if he somehow pushed the reparations bill exactly the way we want it in California, then he has a possibility, but we know he's not going to do that. And we are the swing vote, because if you look, that blue wall they keep talking about, the blue wall, if you look at this election, the black vote was low in those areas because either people didn't show up or some even voted for Trump. And if black people don't vote for you in those particular states, you're just not going to have it.
Well, I mean, look, it was really the Carolinas and Michigan. So you just have to lose it in the right places. It's not really, because you have an electoral college, it's not really relevant in California, although it is relevant at the state level because ultimately, California used to be a Republican state. It could be again. So who knows? But the real issue here is he's not actually addressing the people who matter. Charlie Kirk is not the people who matter. Unless you think you're going to replace the black vote with Charlie Kirk and his people, which is lunacy. Why in the hell would they vote for a Gavin Newsom that they don't trust? You already know his track record from the last 20 years. Why on earth would you vote for him if you're a Republican or right winger or even moderate? You already know what he's about. He couldn't lie big enough, long enough to convince you that he suddenly had some epiphany. No one believes it. Everyone thinks he's just saying that to try to impress the right wingers. And what I'm saying is that, okay, you got their attention, but you don't have their trust. And you never will.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't understand. He's thinking that he's going to get some of their supporters. When reality, Charlie Kirk might convert whoever does like Gavin Newsom to Charlie Kirk's side.
Yeah, if somebody does move, it'll be the momentum is moving away from Newsom. So you make a very good point. If there is any movement, it'll just be more movement away from Newsom to Kirk. There won't be any movement from Kirk to Newsom. Furthermore, Gavin Newsom is not skilled enough, competent enough. Even if his track record is bad enough, he doesn't have the skills to be able to peel off those people. He doesn't have it. He's not the kind of the activities that those people do, the lives that they lead, the things they identify with. He's a part of none of that. None of it. I couldn't imagine this guy even playing a game of touch football, much less full contact. I can't imagine him doing anything besides going to cocktail circuits and watching LGBT porn. I can't imagine him doing anything beyond that. So stuff that regular men do during their off time, this guy can't identify with it. None. Take a look at the way he dresses.
Right.
This guy is not in touch with us.
Yeah, he's trying to dress down, but it's still not working. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm a firm believer when white people get really mad, they tell the truth on each other. And when I look on the conservative side, the biggest complaint is that the white liberals are like stuck up. They think they know it all, and he just gives that impression, and that just makes them further madder. So
I mean, being an elitist, look, he proved that during COVID when everybody else had to stay indoors and him and his friends were outdoors at a restaurant in a big ass group with no masks on or nothing. So that showed them, but it wasn't news for them. They always knew it was like that. So it just confirmed what they already knew. Now you got photographic evidence of it. And by the way, that didn't really come up either. So they know what they're dealing with. They know what they got. The real thing is, okay, what are you going to do? Because the rest of these folks ain't going to run for office. So what are you going to do? And ultimately, this idea that you're going to peel off some Republican voters or you're going to soften them up or whatnot, it's a fool's errand. It's a fool's errand. They're not going to move for you. They don't trust you. They don't trust you and they don't need you. Those are the real problems. It would be different if they needed him, but he's in California. The folk he's trying to get, they don't trust him and they don't need him. You're not going to get white voters in Alabama and white voters in Kentucky and white voters in North Dakota. They're not going to vote for Gavin Newsom. You're not going to get one of those people to run. Not a one. You might get some goofy ass folk in California. Okay, you've already got the state of California, dude.
I'm here in Orlando, Florida, so definitely not getting a white Florida vote. That's definitely not happening. It's definitely
not if he kidnapped them.
Yeah, because I never understood why people thought Florida was in play for a lot of Democrats. Like, they don't understand. Like, once you get outside of Orlando, it's uptown.
Look, there's a lot of lies that get tossed around. I talked about this in 2020 when I told everybody, Roland Martin talking about, Georgia is a purple state. I was the person arguing Georgia is not no damn purple state. Texas is going purple. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Okay, how'd that work out, y'all? Jason Black never changed a word he said. Florida, look at Andrew Gillum. He almost won. If y'all don't stop with that damn almost won garbage, if y'all don't quit with that, Stacey Abrams almost won. If she run again and run a better campaign, she'll take it. Jason Black never changed. I said she's going to lose and she'll lose worse the second time. Y'all need to put the crack pipes down. How'd that turn out, brother? In Georgia. Came down exactly the way I said it. Now, in Florida, for example, Florida is one of those places that kind of works like Texas and California. So you have your major metropolitan areas, so Broward County tends to go for the Dems, you got Orlando, Tallahassee, Jacksonville. But the real thing is, for a lot of them, it tends to go half and half. So you've got your regular reliable places there, but that is it. And the problem is that because of DeSantis and friends, they got the state chopped up the way that they want to in that regard. And they have a huge influx of people who are already disillusioned, moving from New York, moving from California. Those are the people who are sick of the Democrat policies in the places they come from. And they're the ones who are flooding into Florida. So it doesn't matter how, quote, Democrat your county is. You have this avalanche of people who don't like the Democrat policies moving into the state. So you can't give birth to enough Democrats to overrun that. So think of it as domestic immigration, because that's literally what's happening.
That's correct. And then, of course, you got the Cubans down there in Miami, and they don't like Democrats for nothing. and also the Puerto Ricans. My cousin is Puerto Rican. She told me straight up, especially the Puerto Ricans here in Florida, they think they white. Because I'm used to live in New York. The Puerto Ricans from New York and the Puerto Ricans from Florida, even though they go back and forth, are totally different. Have a totally different mindset.
Yeah, a lot of folks get that twisted. There, Cubans are not like Mexicans, And even I can't even say that because even the Mexicans and whatnot, you take a look at how they vote in Texas. Take a look at Uvalde. Is a majority Mexican immigrant town, but the mayor is white. So that's the culture there is comfortable with a white strong man running things. I always talked about Ron DeSantis and that faux Latino thing. And him around with Marco Rubio and whatnot, and that's always been a thing there. So culturally, a lot of folk take a look at people and start, if you're still blinded by the minorities like us thing, you don't understand that. But in Florida, it's always been like that between the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans. It's always been like that. You don't really have a strong Dominican presence down there, but the Cubans and Puerto Ricans, that's always been like that. As soon as they get they get their feet under them, they start voting Republican. Straight down the line, they start voting Republican and start talking like Fox News. Straight down the line. Straight down the line.
And then I don't even know how they even thought Georgia was in play. Like, I go up to Georgia sometimes and I'm like, there's so many good old boys up in Georgia. There's certain parts of Georgia I'm like, I don't even want to go get gas.
Well, because Georgia is really a 50-50 state except for Fulton County. So the real thing is when they say, quote, Georgia, they mean Fulton County. It's kind of weird. It's like Louisiana. Everybody thinks Louisiana is New Orleans. New Orleans, I promise you all, New Orleans is just one small part of Louisiana. I assure you, there's a gigantic state outside of New Orleans. Maybe not a gigantic population, but there's a gigantic state outside of New Orleans. So when they say, quote, Georgia, they really mean Atlanta and specifically Fulton County. That's what they really mean. And what they mean by that is if they can turn out the vote in Fulton County. So if they can turn out the vote in Fulton County and Atlanta, if they can do that, then that goes a long way towards winning the state of Georgia. Because that's a very dense population center for Georgia, because Georgia is really not heavily populated outside of that area. Not really. That Atlanta Metroplex, that's where most of their population is concentrated. So if you can turn out that vote there, you pretty much got the state where you want it to be. If, however, you fail to turn out that vote, and that vote decides to sit home, then the outlying rural areas and all that, Valdosta, Augusta, so on and so forth, well, now they're going to hold sway. Because them folk out there, the white folk out there, are going to vote regardless. They're going to vote regardless. So if you can't turn out that black vote in Fulton County, there goes the state.
Mm-hmm. And and that when you say that about Georgia, let's be honest, we're talking about black people. When you talk about Atlanta, we're really talking about black people. So if the Dems ain't doing what they need to do to black people, why would they need to show up?
Well, they thought they were going to remember Andrew Yang was down there. We covered that in 2020. They thought they were going to get the Asian vote to supplant that and the illegal aliens. That's why they're dropping so many of them out there. They thought they were going to get that to replace it, and it didn't work out the way they hoped it would. Mm-hmm. That's what went wrong there. So they've been trying to dilute the vote. They've been trying to circumvent it. They've been trying to overrun it. They've been trying to dismiss it. They've been trying to do it. It just didn't work. It just didn't work out.
I see. What do you see in the future for the Democratic Party? Do you see that they're going to fall off in history?
No.
No,
I mean they're going through a bad spell right now. My prediction stands firm. What they're going to attempt to do is tack more to the right and attempt to recreate what Bill Clinton did back in the 90s. That's what they're going to try to do. What they currently lack is a credible candidate to do it.
Right.
That's the problem. I think that Andrew Cuomo's time in the wilderness was very devastating for him to be able to take that position because he's been out of sight, out of mind. So it's going to be hard for him to get in that position. He thinks becoming mayor of New York will help him to catapult back to that. I'm questionable of it. We'll see how it goes. Josh Shapiro, we don't really know enough about him to think he's going to be some difference in that regard. But I've been saying this now for years, they're going to try to tack back to the right and recreate not the Obama years, but the Clinton years. This Southern type Democrat who's not soft and not wacky and not a degenerate and not a sexual pervert and is going to be tough on crime and fiscally conservative, that they're going to try to find somebody who has credibility in that regard. But that's going to be tough because they don't have anybody like a Bill Clinton now. They don't have that. Remember, Bill Clinton overthrew Mike Dukakis. Mike Dukakis would fit in with the current Democrats perfectly today. He would fit in with no problems today. Bill Clinton was an anomaly, and they don't have another Bill Clinton.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it because so many people are against immigration, and they want to use immigration to dilute the black vote. Like, I don't think Cuomo's going to win in New York because he wants some more immigrants to go in there to dilute the black vote there in New York. And white or black, foundation Black Americans and white people that live there ain't trying to hear it. They're just not trying to hear it. Everyone saw what they did in New York with the illegals. Everyone saw it. And then what he did on COVID.
I think they'll have to find somebody else. I don't know if it'll be Shapiro. I don't know if his wad's already been shot, but they're going to have to find somebody else. I don't know who that somebody else is right now. I mean, the inmates run the asylum. They're not even serving meals anymore. I mean, it's just a bunch of niggas swinging from the chandeliers and throwing stuff at the screens. So we're going to have to wait until somebody actually is able to subjugate this herding of cats before we find out what direction they're going to go in. Because right now, nobody's in charge. Nobody's leading. There is no agenda. It's just a bunch of LGBT dressed folk screaming at each other. That's all it is. So it'll be a while before we find out what, if anything, they're going to be able to do. So Jason, what direction they're going in? Right now, they're just going in circles. I can't tell which one. They're just going in circles right now. So it's just, think about a car just spinning donuts. That's the Democrat Party right now. We're going to win the race. Nigga, you going in circles. Thank you very much for giving us a call. There is nothing happening right now. There isn't. Nobody's running this. Nobody's leading it. There is no overwhelming agenda. There's no prevailing anything. It's just we hate Trump and Elon Musk. And that's not an agenda. It really isn't. We hate Elon Musk is not a reason for us to vote for you. It's not the way that works. All right, let me go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again. We've got Tyler here on Zoom. Tyler, what's on your mind? Unmute yourself, Tyler. Tyler's trying to figure out this newfangled technology.
What's going on, Brother Jason?
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Jason, so a couple things I wanted to mention, but I'm going to start with the most relevant. A coworker was giving a presentation at the school I work at, and she said that feminism is at the root of the Black civil rights movement. She then went on to say that the civil rights movement was sexist because quote unquote prominent figures were Black males. Now, here's the thing. Feminism is quiet on the treatment of Black females. So if you're a feminist movement, I get that, but they don't really talk about that. And she didn't take the time to call out the white men that were abusing Black women on a daily basis. And she didn't call out the white women that were providing daily moral support. And this just kind of all leads into, I was cheering for my kids today, Jason, so my voice is a little hoarse, but this all just leads into the legitimacy of our reparations claim. There is so many levels to it that it doesn't matter which one you pick. We could pick one of the abuses of slavery and forget all the rest, and that alone would bankrupt the country. So instead of white people, when they make the claim, we can't pay back Black people because it would bankrupt the country, instead of them saying, damn, that's a sign of how, bad slavery really was, they say that's actually the reason why we shouldn't do reparations is because it was that bad. And that logic is that's insane. That's insane.
Okay, well, that's not their position, though. Their position is that they shouldn't have to pay reparations because no harm was done. That's their position. Their position is that when you start questioning them and drilling them down about it, what do they say? What did Ron DeSantis say? Oh, y'all were better off over here. So what you're saying is there was that slavery didn't harm us. Not at all. So please understand that that's their argument. That's their objection. That you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Oh, well, it doesn't matter how you got here. We actually did you a favor. Oh, you were here before we were? Well, we actually got you useful. We actually taught you useful skills. Remember Ron DeSantis? Oh, folks forgot about when Ron DeSantis said that? Slavery helped black folk learn useful skills. Those are skills we already had, sir. So please understand, their position is that no harm was actually done to you. Charlie Kirk and the rest of them, that's their position. No harm was actually done to you. None. It was just an unpleasant, weird, wacky summer. But you were not, no harm was actually done to you. So there's no reason for us not to be proud of America just as it is, as it was and as it is. There's no reason to talk badly about it, to be down on it, because we didn't do nothing wrong.
Jason, I was looking at an article, this was a couple weeks ago, and when we talk about how far they went to ensure the success of illegal immigrants, TSA was permitting illegals to fly without ID using an app that was built by Border Patrol. So they didn't just let them in the country. You can't passively build an app that helps illegal immigrants travel and fly around the country. The fact that you would go so far as to hire the software developer, build out the wireframe, and pay for the development, test this, make sure that it works, and then implement it and deploy it. That's so far to go for people who didn't pay taxes, from people who you don't know if their interests are for the country. They repatriate millions of dollars, if not billions, every year back to their home nation. It just shows that it's such hypocrisy when they say they can't do this for us, they can't do that. When my coworkers asked me about if I voted for Kamala Harris, and I said no. They said, you voted for Trump. I said no, I didn't vote for anybody. I say he didn't start, Kamala didn't start with a bus pass. She didn't start with a gift card to Subway. She said nothing. They didn't start with anything. They didn't offer anything. So when you can build an app for people who aren't from the country, who haven't taken an oath, but you can't do basic things like get me a gift card to Subway, there's an issue there.
As Dr. Welsing said, white folk play dumb about racism and black people play dumb along with them, or at least up until the point we did. But it is not because they don't know. It has never been because they don't know. And Gavin Newsome, with his interview with Charlie Kirk, is just confirming what we've always said. They've just pretended to be stupid. They just pretended they didn't know. Their whole goal was to avoid these discussions altogether, because neither the Democrats nor the Republicans want us in a position of power or authority, because we are the ultimate overthrow of the status quo. All of them want us to help deliver the vote and continue the status quo, not to disrupt it, much less to stop it. So when they find useful idiot Negroes like your female friend there and everything, you've always had a discontented cohort of idiots who go off and say mess like that. They hang out with their liberal white friends, or conservative white friends, by the way. So those are the folk they hang out with. They're not around black people. So they have these individuals they brainwash and set up as these poison pills, and then they send them back among us to come spew their garbage, to be disaffected, to have a bunch of bastard kids, and then go have a few girlfriends. What? That's what they do. That's what it's always been. Always. So we saw this with Gloria Steinem. They've always known how to recruit disaffected Negroes, give them their talking points. And the red herring of it, whether it's Tarana Burke or any of the others, the red herring is when you start saying, by the way, black men don't have any power or authority, and we never have. What about all the white men who were making laws? And you ain't said a word about them? Now, how is it that you talk about black men and you ain't said a word about these white men who actually have real power and authority and actually were doing something? Why is it you're quiet about that? If we didn't know better, these are white supremacist talking points you're giving. Are you sure you're black? Because you're talking like a white supremacist right now. How in the hell do you overlook the 8,000-pound elephant in the room and you're talking about the 3-ounce hummingbird First of all, a hummingbird that doesn't exist, because what they're saying is a lie. But even if it were real, how are you ignoring this other thing over here? Sounds like your job is to deflect and distract. And they just found a black face to do it. But it's never an on-point female. It's never a female who gets along with black folk. It's never a female who has any black credentials. It's always some chick who is cosmetically challenged, shall we say. She isn't anything that you want to be caught dead or alive with, in or near a bed. And that's their job, is to say nonsense. They'll see if they can go find some associate professorship somewhere and write a few crazy red novels, and that'll be the end of that.
Jason, last thing for the night. I don't know if you heard, Stephen A. had to call out the Democrats to keep whatever shred of dignity that he thought he had. And it just showed very clearly that the new black media is winning the day. So congratulations to you and the other members. And I'm going to step back and keep listening. Appreciate you, Jason. B1.
Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith is, he's trying to be relevant. He's trying to, what's happened is that he has been trying to pivot. He wants that space that Shannon Sharp got. Shannon Sharp has proven that, the Oprah Winfrey era is over. And in the internet age, there's a lane and people are open to having somebody who has just a general talk program. And, they're not just talking about sports. So Shannon Sharp has demonstrated you can do that. He's demonstrated it's viable. And so Stephen A. Smith is throwing his jughead crown into the ring to see if he can, make his program more multifaceted, because the bottom line is, no matter how he talks, he knows full well that Disney could fire his ass tomorrow. No more contract, no more nothing. So he's trying to diversify as much as he can and gain as much residual value as he can, because that thing in ESPN could be over tomorrow. So clearly he's trying to carve out a lane where, okay, let me talk about some politics and things so I can have a more general use program. And it's not dumb to do that. It isn't dumb to do that. Here's the problem. The problem will come when Stephen A. Smith attempts to reestablish his black credentials. You can't be Sean Hannity's favorite pet and best bed buck and then have black credentials. It ain't gonna work that way. Criticizing the Democrats is not gonna give that to you anyway, because this is not about how you feel about Democrats. This is about how you feel about us. There's where the problem comes in. We already saw this movie. By the way, I told you all this. We already saw this movie before. Candace Owens, when she lost her in, what's the first, with the white folks she was with, and Ben Shapiro and the other white supremacists over there. What happened with her? She came to see if black folk would support her. We said, nah, we good. And we're better without you. We're good now and we're better without you. So you better hope that you have enough fan base support to make you viable, because you don't have a black people to return to. You don't have one. You don't get to do what you did, and you have a black people to return to. You're done. Stephen A. Smith, you don't get to do what you've done for the last 10, 15 years, and you have a black people to return to. You don't get to do that. You better make your bed over there with Sean Hannity and the rest of them. You better just make it work over there, dude. You better make it fly where it is, because you don't have anything to come to over here. Don't let the success of Shannon Sharp and the foolery of Steve Harvey deceive you into thinking that we've changed. You ain't got nothing to come to over here. So go ahead and try to diversify if you want to. You're really too politically inept and incompetent to be able to make that work. That's not really going to happen for you there, but you go ahead and try that, man. Go ahead and try that, dude. It'll be entertaining to watch, I suppose, to a certain extent, but bruh, coon niggas are too easy to replace. Y'all are a dime a dozen. They don't have to go out of their room, out of their way for you. Coon niggas are easy to replace. You're a dime a dozen. It costs nothing to get you, nothing to have you. They got a line around the block to replace you with. Won't cost them nothing. So deceive yourself into thinking you're irreplaceable or that you're special, that you got some special knack. You're going to try to parlay your infamy into something else. What you want me to do is get an audience from it. At the end of the day, authenticity matters, and everybody knows what you are about already. You're not going to be able to walk that backwards. You need to be able to, but you're ultimately not going to be able to. That's not the way it works. So you better play nice with Disney, and you better make that work out, and you better make sure that you got everything in place that you need. You better make sure you do, but don't think you're going to pivot and don't think you're going to be our best buddy. We're not looking for Stephen A. Smith to be our spokesperson nor to articulate our talking points for us. We are not looking for Stephen A. Smith to be our spokesperson or to articulate our talking points for us. If we were looking for someone to do that, if we did need to choose someone to do that, it damn sure wouldn't be Stephen A. Coonan Smith.
And deal with it, nigga.
Even if we were looking for somebody to do that, Stephen A., we damn sure wouldn't call you. Not you. Ain't no lane for you, so quit pretending that you can speak on our behalf. We're not looking for you. The Democrats are trying to rewrite the book, y'all. They think that they're going to come to the internet and use the internet as the broadcast medium to reverse their fortunes and to save their party for the next elections. They think that all they're missing is a Democrat podcast, a Democrat YouTube show, a Democrat town hall meeting. They think that's all they're lacking. They are sorely mistaken. They're not just wrong, they're sorely mistaken. And it'll be entertaining, if nothing else, to watch them wallow around in silliness and stupidity while they are screwing up. It'll be entertaining enough to see that. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, Black Channel Films, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work. That's at blackchannelfilms.com. That's blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you very much here to my man, Mr. Tahuti. We appreciate that as well. Thank you very much for your support, Tahuti. To Rana and everyone else here, April, thank you very much for your support. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.